This is a hybrid meeting of the City Council. Member of the public can view this meeting live on Channel 8, the city's website, and YouTube. Live Spanish translation services are being provided for tonight's council meeting by telephone. Please dial 720-386-9023 and use code 104091 asterisk.
Se ofrecen servicios de interpretación en español para esta reunión del Consejo Municipal por teléfono. Marque el número 720-386-9023 y utilice el código 104091 estrella.
All votes tonight's agenda will be conducted as a roll call vote. We'll now call the meeting to order and ask the clerk to call roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Guardiola.
Present.
Councilmember Teeter.
Present.
Councilmember Sandoval. Mayor Pro Tem Noble.
Present.
Mayor Douglas.
Present.
Councilmember Kim.
Here.
Councilmember Dukes. Present. Councilmember Trujillo.
Here.
Councilmember Young.
Present.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. I need a motion and seconds to excuse members not present. Councilmember Kim.
So moved.
Councilmember Teeter.
Second.
Okay, and the motion for excused members not present, I'll ask the clerk to take a roll call vote.
Thank you, Mayor. The vote is now open.
Okay, that passed unanimous with one excused absence. Okay, all right. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. Followed by, starting out with a moment of silence. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do any council members wish to amend the agenda? Okay, seeing none, I need a motion and second to adopt the agenda as presented. Councilmember Kim.
So moved.
Councilmember Teeter.
Second.
Motion on the floor is to adopt the agenda as presented. I'll ask the clerk to take a roll call vote.
Thank you, Mayor. The vote is open.
Okay, that passes unanimous with one excused absence. Okay, on to public comments. All public comments except for those regarding public hearings will occur now. If you intend to comment on the public hearing, please refrain from doing so until the appropriate time on either council's tonight's agenda or on a future agenda. Public comment shall be limited to 3 minutes per person. The public shall direct all comments to the full council, not to an individual council member. Will the city clerk call anyone virtual or in person, please?
Mayor, thank you. Yes, we have a few members signed up virtually, so we'll start with them. And the first person is Rana Sanchez, and I will allow her to speak.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Okay, hello. Rana Sanchez, 10680 Waco Street in Commerce City. Good evening. I would like to comment on your creation of an Arts and Culture Commission. As a point of information, I served on the Commerce City Cultural Council for 6+ years, served as treasurer for 3 years, and successfully wrote grants raising money for 6 years, including grants from the SCFD. While I think it is probably a good idea to transition the Cultural Council from a nonprofit to a city commission, I take strong issue with the information provided in the background portion of the document distributed to all of you, and I would like to clarify some of the misinformation. The tone of the information is that the Cultural Council was using the city resources in an inappropriate way and said that from the beginning we were using staff and resources. When the Cultural Council was first started, it is my understanding there was no staff liaison, and this was added later. The staff liaison did provide administrative support by providing agendas and taking minutes, and was also on the bank account. That was the extent of it. I remember that clearly because when I started on the council as a brand new member, I was asked to write the grants for it. I asked the liaison for assistance since I had no idea or reference about what to do, and she told me, "I can't help you, I am just the liaison." Also, when I first moved to Commerce City, there was music in the park put on by the Cultural Council, and the City Parks and Recreation Department put on a resource fair event. It was at Frontera Park and was a city event. They asked the Cultural Council to find a band for it and just help with the entertainment aspect. The city had all their informational resources and gave out free hot dogs and chips. I clearly remember this. It was a good event. Then the city came to the Cultural Council and asked if they could piggyback off Music in the Park and eliminate their resource fair. They would work with us on the event by providing setup and tear down of tents and distribute their resource information at tables. Of course, we said yes. I was a little bummed since I liked the hot dogs, but it was not my personal decision. We thought it was a co-sponsorship. Each year, the Cultural Council experienced what I liken to urban creep, only I call it city creep. The City Parks and Rec Department would come to us and asked if they could do this or do that, and pretty much took over the event. More often than not, what they did added and improved the event, which is the overriding most important part. I resent the insinuation that the Cultural Council barely did anything and was relying on the city to do everything. That was not the case. The city inserted itself into Music in the Park. The grant portion of this background information confuses me. Prior to the recent establishment of a grants
Ma'am, could you
division-
wrap it up, please? Thank you. You go ahead and finish.
Well, I wanted to address the whole grant thing where you said that we were keeping you from applying for grants because the Cultural Council was applying for grants, and I don't understand that because you said it from the city side of Music in the Park, and I didn't realize there were sides to it. I thought it was a joint event. I have like a whole bunch of other stuff, so I'll just stop since I ran out of time.
Well, I appreciate
But
you making a
can I
comment.
the last thing I want to say is, as usual, my words are not meant to change anything, but I feel better having said them. And maybe another time I'll speak to some of you about the whole grant situation because I find that kind of annoying as well. Because I raised a lot of money applying for grants, and you're insinuating we were keeping money from the city, and I don't appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, we had a few more people signed up online, but none of them are on the Zoom call. We'll monitor for that, but we can move over to in-person speakers. So the first up is John Adams.
Good evening. I am Dr. John Henry Adams. First, I'd like to give honor to our mayor, Steve Douglas, and the city council members. My issue today is on our property taxes. My property taxes increased again, another $800. Our insurance, our property insurance went up to $12,000 this year. They informed me that my escrow was $7,200 short. This continues to happen year after year. As my wife and I look over the horizon, and we are very close to retiring and getting into a fixed type of a situation with income, I don't see how this will be sustainable in the future. We will basically be taxed and insurance out of our property. and we need some solutions that will be helpful, not just to us, but other people that are in the Commerce City community. I almost said amen, I'm a minister, okay? But that's what's on my heart right now. I'm looking for opportunities. I have 3 degrees, and I'm looking for opportunities to help this governing body, to be a volunteer. So please hit me up and let me know how I can be a bigger help as a citizen of Commerce City. Thank you very much.
Dr. Adams, thank you for your testimony, your comment. Could you tell me what subdivision you live in?
Say again, please.
What subdivision do you live in?
In Reunion,
Reunion, okay.
10690 Nucleus Street. You were very helpful in some concrete issues. The city contracted someone that did a poor job, and they dug up the street twice to fix the sewer, water treatment issues, and you came by, took a look at that, and it was a slam dunk after that. They fixed it right away. And I thank you for that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Mayor, next up, we have Ron Velasquez.
Good evening. Yes, my name's Ron Velasquez. I live at 6906 Colorado Boulevard. And it's not in Reunion, so you're lucky, I guess. I live in the ghetto part, evidently. About 2 years ago, they repaired our streets. I've been living in this house for 50-odd years, and they've just now completed road construction on that from 68th to 70th Avenue, and it took another year to get streetlights installed there. They were working fine. Somebody has come along and they stripped all the wiring. I called the mayor here about a week ago to complain and find out what the situation is on this. I have not heard any response back. And of course, I have other issues, but I would like to get with other people, maybe the people in my ward. It's a truck route that goes down that road. These trucks use Jake brakes, they speed. We have actually had cars that were racing down that road from 70th Avenue all the way to 60th Avenue. There was a Mustang and a Corvette, and I know they were doing over 100 miles an hour. We're not getting any police response over there as to speak of. I have a lot of other issues, but those are 2 of my top ones. I don't know why we can't get a speed bump, at least one. I've asked for a speed bump, and they say no. They said because in case there's an emergency, well, I don't buy that. You have 4 speed bumps on 68th Avenue where the new elementary school is. And and I said, well, what happens when somebody gets hurt down that street? What happens if a child gets hurt at school or they have a fire? They're not going to go down that road? 4 big, tall speed bumps. I mean, they're tall. So maybe we can have some answers. I don't know. Like I said, I have other questions. Maybe the gentleman with my ward, I believe that's Ward 1.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So with your questions, there'll be a staff member that will contact you and go through more of what you're asking as far as information as a follow-up.
Okay, appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'll be expecting it. Thank you.
Okay.
Mayor, next on the list is Lois Cagle.
Hi, my name is Lois Cagle. I live at 6950 Colorado Boulevard, and I got the same complaint as my neighbor does. And we don't live in Reunion, so I guess we won't get anything unless we live in Reunion. I guess you guys think where we live is the ghetto. No, it's not. You have decent people that live there. All we're asking for is a speed bump and you to fix the lights, the street lights. And it's been over a year and you haven't done anything. I guess where you live matters, doesn't it?
No, ma'am. Everyone, try to treat everybody fairly. I appreciate you coming forward, though. And we take your concerns serious.
Okay, I'll be back again at the next city council meeting until you do something.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Mayor, next is Nate Harris.
Alrighty, good evening, council. You know who I am, you know why I'm here. Continued disregard for the rights and safety of your own constituents in this city. And given the mountain of evidence demonstrating the immense dangers of systems like the flock cameras that you've installed that many of you up here just simply refuse to acknowledge, I'd be surprised if this budges you on your inaction, but nevertheless, I'll bring it to your attention. Your $4.5 million rental package from Flock includes an undisclosed number of their Condor cameras, which are capable of human identification and tracking. To be clear, all of their cameras are capable of that, but these ones are specifically designed for it, since unlike their static Falcon cameras, these ones pan, tilt, and zoom specifically to follow a target. And these aren't whipping around to try to follow a car going 60 miles an hour on along Highway 2. They're following slower subjects like bicyclists, joggers, and normal pedestrians walking along sidewalks and other non-roadways. This isn't a hypothetical. This has been proven and exposed in several investigations and probes into these cameras and into Flock. Now, this goes entirely counter to what the Flock representatives told you in April. Trevor Chandler walked in here and stood at this exact podium and knowingly lied to your faces about the capabilities of these devices. You asked specifically about its capabilities of facial recognition and tracking, and he said no. In fact, this has already been happening in the city for a while. There are several places in here where the static Falcon cameras, these aren't the pan and tilt ones, but they're not pointed at roadways, they're pointed at sidewalks and pedestrian walkways. They're not gonna be able to see any cars by facing that way, but they are gonna be able to see every single person and every single face that walks along that pathway, not to mention the passive data collection these devices do, logging nearby Bluetooth devices like smartphones, smartwatches, headphones, anything that can uniquely identify a person or a subject. Now again, as I've been done so many times, I'll urge you to strongly reconsider your partnership with Flock given the ethical, financial, and frankly effectiveness concerns about this dangerous surveillance system, not to mention the legal nightmare this city will befall when this gets challenged. On that note, given that these devices collect my biometric data and given my rights under the Colorado Privacy Act, I am formally submitting a permanent opt-out and data deletion request to the City of Commerce City as they serve as the custodian for qualifying information. I'll hand some copies of these to the city manager, and I imagine that the city attorney will also look at them. I also hand them to the clerk to roll it into the record. I imagine the city attorney will probably review them and respond appropriately. Jason, if I could get you to sign that as a receipt, actually, can you sign my copy as a received date to confirm receipt? Can you please acknowledge that you have received a copy of my form?
Mr. Harris, could you?
Sorry, that's the end of my comment. I just need the city manager to sign off on this, that he has received this document.
Okay, I would say at this time, that's inappropriate. So I'm sure things can be handled a little different way, but as of right now, just for public comment.
Okay,
I
well,
appreciate that.
that's the end of my comment, and I have officially submitted that to the city. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Mayor, next we have Sheila Malden.
I think she's online, isn't she?
Yeah, she had signed up online, but we also got a notification that she was here. So I guess Sheila is not around. That moves over then to Keith Rogers.
Evening, Mayor, Council.
Evening.
Same thing as the gentleman said with the racing down Colorado Boulevard, but by golly, our cameras don't see that, do they? Every freaking day. Apparently, we have to put no Jake brakes in Spanish for some of these idiots that drive up and down that road on a daily basis, above the speed limit, using Jake brakes every day. We still got our speeders, we still have our ATVs out, and we still have no police presence. The last 2 times I've called, 4 hours later, they call me on the phone. Oh, I'm sorry, we've been really busy. You know, that story's getting old. You're all on one side of the city. You don't all have to be over there at the same time. I understand there are bad things going on, like the shooting on 72nd and Highway 2, but we're getting tired of not getting anything done on our side of Commerce City. I still have not seen any paperwork on drainage and what's going to be done, or if there's drainage, or if there's going to be anything done on that. We've been screaming about that for years. Also, the lights in the park, where the drug deals happen all the time. We still haven't got those either. So we need to start finding out, what do we have to do to get a police department on that side of Commerce City? Because God knows this side over here is covered, and Reunion's covered, but we need it over here at Adams Heights, desperately. Or we can have you guys go door to door and explain to these people in their language not to speed up and down these streets. We have animals loose, we have elderly, we've got handicapped, we've got children. It's getting ridiculous. And they're the same people every freaking time. Code enforcement's not being in the neighborhood. Got neighbors still parking in their yard. They've been talked to and talked to and talked to. Somebody needs to get a hold of the landlord that lives in Thornton and get these people straightened up. My new nickname, I won't say because there are ladies present. I let him back out of his driveway. I waited patiently quite a ways back. And he calls me names as he goes by me now. It's a bunch of crap. We need to take care of it.
Thank you.
Mayor, Council, next up is Jackie Valdez.
Good evening, council, city management. I don't even know what to say tonight. I think everybody that has came up here has pretty much said they're very angry and we're tired of coming up and asking for results and it's not happening. We've got to do something. He is right. Colorado Boulevard has became, I thought 68th was bad, but Colorado Boulevard has become a raceway. The ATV situation, that's another bad thing that is just escalating because I did a call the other night and the officers were really busy, and I understand that crimes become before anything else, and I get that. I explained to dispatch that the gentleman was a party that I had encountered before on the ATVs, and that he had the 2 kids on him. They did have helmets this time. Way to go. But he was racing up and down the streets, and so I kind of followed. And he's flying down Ash, and a van starts to back out. Well, the van backed out right close to where he lived, And so he kind of swerved. And I thought, man, dude, you're going to wipe yourself out and your kids too. So I followed him. So there's a little tiny cul-de-sac that's right off of Ash and Serini. And I went up there and he wasn't there. Well, there's like a little driveway behind. And so he was in that driveway and I was doing not even 5 miles an hour and kind of watching to see where he was at. And he come barreling out of there. Thank God I was watching and going really, really slow. Otherwise I would hit him. We have got to figure something out as Commerce City is getting worse with all of the criminal activity that's happening with these ATVs, motorbikes, go-karts, all of it. We have to find something to kind of stop the situation. And another thing, I am fed up with these trucks coming down my road. I warned you guys, and and I already told them, have I not said, I'm gonna block the road. You're gonna be handcuffing me and taking me to jail. But you know what? They're gonna quit coming down my road. I've had enough of it. 2 this morning, 2, not going to the school, driving right through. We have got to put a stop to this. School's getting ready to start again pretty soon, guys. And what are we gonna do? Have more incidents? These are our babies. They want to be raised. They want to grow up. You had your chance, so we have to protect our children, our animals, our elderly, ourselves. We have got to get a handle on Commerce City. We got to stop sitting on this. Someone's got to step up and say, hey, I'm going to take charge. And if y'all ain't going to do it, well, then I guess, you know what? The crazy person is. So just remember that.
Thank you.
Mayor, next is Christy Douglas.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and City Management. I would respectfully like to ask for 5 minutes rather than the 3 allotted. I know that takes a vote of council, but I would appreciate having that vote, please. And then I'd like to have this time started over again.
City Council, okay to give this person 5 minutes? Public comment? Okay, we'll take a vote. Make a motion to allow 5 minutes. That's my motion. Mayor Pro Tem Noble?
I move to extend the public comment for 5 minutes.
I'll second that.
Mayor, the vote is open on the motion.
Okay, that motion fails 2-6. Sorry, Ms. Douglas.
That's all right. I guess it says it all. So thank you. So my name is Christy Douglas. I live in Ward 4. I'd like to start out by asking that ordinance 2782 be pulled from the consent agenda. This is for an amount of $463,040 to be used for an ice rink. I think that the money is being spent recklessly. I've seen that since this new council was seated, and I think that should be pulled and discussed, and a vote should be taken on it so that the public can see exactly how this council feels. So I was here 2 weeks ago. There was public comment and there was public hearing. And it was actually 3 projects that people came forward for. And I would really like to have you as a council and as the city management take a look at the Commerce City Land Development Code purpose. The purpose states, Commerce City Land Development Code is designed to promote health, safety, and the general public welfare. This includes avoiding undue concentration of population. That did not fit into that. Conserving property values. I think that it would greatly affect property values to have those projects come in. Encouraging diversity in land use types. I don't think it does that. Encouraging the most appropriate use of land throughout the city. Encouraging urban environments where appropriate. Where appropriate. Ensuring a logical growth of various physical elements of the city. Improving housing standards. Doesn't do that for sure. Preventing the overcrowding of land. Can't check that one off either. Promoting economic development. This is not economic development. This is adding the rooftops that you keep dog whistling, that you're saying that we need to bring in economic development. That is pandering. It's not true. And we have promoting pleasing aesthetics and minimizing eyesores. Doesn't fit into that either. Promoting safety from fire, panic, and other dangers. Definitely doesn't do that. I've only got two more, I'll finish. Providing adequate light and air. I don't know exactly what that means. Reducing congestion in the streets. Definitely doesn't do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mayor, that concludes the folks signed up for public comment.
Okay, thank you. Members of the public are able to submit written comments online and by mail. Written comments were received by the deadline and they were incorporated in today's package. If a follow-up is necessary, a staff member will contact you. All right, up next, notice of council business, Rotary Club, Commerce City Representative change. I'll invite Councilmember Young to introduce this item.
I am the current representative for the Commerce City Rotary Club. And unfortunately, I have a scheduling conflict and will need to step down out of the Rotary as the Commerce City Rotary representative. And so we need to select a new city council representative.
Okay. All right. Is that your motion? Did you want to make a motion, Councilmember Young?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion.
All right. Okay. Councilmember Teeter?
I'll second that.
All right. I had a question for City Manager Rogers.
Yes, ma'am.
Since Councilmember Young has to step down from that position, is there a staff member that could take place if a city council member cannot step up to that spot?
Great question, Mayor. We already do have staff that is participatory at the Rotary. I think what we would want to flesh out is with your committee and commission appointments, how that is particularly structured, if it is a member of council or if it can be designated to, I would say myself or a designee within my discretion. But I think that is the first thing that we would want to flesh out. And I unfortunately can't speak to that on the top of my mind today.
Okay, appreciate that. Any council member available to take that position for
Mayor,
Councilmember
if
Young?
I may interrupt, just want to get clarity on what the motion on the table is.
The motion is, I move that the city council acknowledge that I, Councilmember Young, have decided to step down from my role as one of the city's representatives at the Rotary Club. This action will open the opportunity for another council member or designee representative to serve in this capacity.
Okay, thank you.
Any council member? Councilmember Teeter, are you available for that position?
I'm already on the Rotary.
You're already on there?
And it's something I wanted to mention was we have meetings weekly, every Wednesday at noon.
So you're the alternate?
And, no, I'm the permanent.
Okay. So this one has 2 regular members on it, is that right?
We are looking that up. Like I said, I can't speak off
Okay.
the top of my head, Mayor. Whether it's 2 regulars or an alternative, and the city attorney and I were just actually chatting about that, so.
Okay. Councilmember Young?
Yeah, I just wanted to say it does have 2 city council representatives. And as City Manager Rogers said, we do have other city staff who belong to Rotary. And the meetings are noon to 1:30, and you get lunch. And it's lovely.
All right, thank you. Well, if this passes in the meantime, Councilmember Teeter will continue to take that position until we could either fill that or have staff member. Any other questions? Okay, ready for the vote.
Okay, Mayor, and really, Councilmember Young has stepped down. There really doesn't need to be a vote to approve that. It would be a vote if you all wanted to appoint a new member in her absence.
That's fine.
Lee has thoughts on withdrawing.
I think that, Zarzaki?
Yeah, I think that's correct. I think that the technical action of stepping down doesn't need a vote. However, there would need to be a formal vote to appoint someone in her place. I think what I heard the mayor just state is we do have a council member who is currently also assigned as a council designee. My recommendation would be to continue to move forward with that one designee to allow us the opportunity to look at the foundational organizational action that actually even imposed having 2 council members as appointees. That would take us a little bit of time to digest, to figure out where is this establishing requirement. It may be within Rotary's bylaws. I just don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, well, I appreciate that explanation. All right, seeing that we don't have to, we'll go ahead. Councilmember Young, we'll just go ahead and rescind your motion. Is that, you okay with that? Okay. Councilmember Teeter? Fine.
Can you repeat that?
We're going to rescind that
Okay.
order. Thank you. Okay, up next, Friends of the Front Range Refuge Liaison Change. I will invite Mayor Pro Tem Noble to introduce this item.
Thank you very much. There are 2 liaisons to the Friends of Front Range Wildlife Refuge Board. One is myself, and the other is Councilmember Teeter. The board has changed their bylaws in order to also include Denver and Aurora, which I think is a really wonderful idea. Obviously, there are other cities that border the Arsenal in particular. So in doing so, they are reducing the number of liaisons from Commerce City to 1. So the decision then of the city council would be to choose a liaison. They are fine with both Councilmember Teeter and myself. And Councilmember Teeter and I have not been able to decide who should be the person to do it, because we both would like to continue. So we are asking to leave it up to the city council to choose between us. In the past, when we've had more than one person who wants to serve on a board, when we do the organizational meeting in December, each of the council members expresses the reasons for why they want to continue, and then that becomes part of your decision-making.
Thank you. Before I take a motion, is there any possibility one could be in a regular position, the other one as an alternate, in case the regular person isn't available for the meeting?
that isn't what they were asking for. But if the city council wanted to choose to go that route, I'm sure that that could be our plan. That's usually the standard backup plan for boards that only has one.
Okay. All right, Councilmember Dukes.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to have Councilmember Teeter be the representative for the boards, or for the Front Range Refuge as the liaison, with Mayor Pro Tem as the alternate.
Okay, thank you. That's a motion. Councilmember Young, did you want to second that?
No, I actually have a question. These are, the bylaws from the Wildlife Refuge were pretty clear. They wanted one representative. It doesn't state in their bylaws that they wanted an alternate. Do we have the authority to decide to assign an alternate?
City Attorney Zarzaki?
It's a very good question that I think the organization's attorney would have to opine on. I think what we could do is express to them that city council heard their request and took action the way that city council deemed it appropriate to do. They might render the alternate decision moot and worthless, frankly, and say, you all have taken an action to have a primary appointee, and that is the only person that we are going to consider. It largely depends on the organization's interpretation of their bylaws. So haven't had that conversation, have not read their bylaws. No one has reached out to my office on this issue.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm looking for a second. Councilmember Guardiola.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Any other discussion? Mayor Pro Tem Noble?
Yes, I did want to be able to address this. The refuge and the board is an environmental ecological group, which is where my expertise lies. In addition, I have been the director of a nonprofit board, which is exactly what they are. And they do fundraising on behalf of the refuge. I think that my expertise is actually something that is of benefit to the refuge. And so I will be voting no.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other discussion? Okay. Ready to proceed?
Thank you, Mayor. The vote is now open.
Okay, we got a 4-4 time, so that motion fails. All right. City Attorney Zarzaki?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to clarify, council does not need to necessarily move on to the next item just because that motion failed. If there's additional deliberation that is warranted to come to some sort of an agreement amongst you all, you do have that ability.
Okay. Councilmember Kim?
I want to make that motion to ask to have the Mayor Pro Tem as a primary for the FWWR and Councilmember Teeter as the backup.
Okay, that's a motion. Need a second? I will second that.
Okay, Mayor, the vote is now open on the motion.
We're going to have discussion.
Sure. Councilmember Teeter.
I also would like to be number one for this nomination. And I originally started working with the Arsenal in the 80s and the 90s, and 80 from the fire department in the 90s, from city council. We went back to DC a number of times trying to get that declared so that we could open up a wildlife from back in the time. And I'm still wanting to be on the committee.
Thank you. Any other council members? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and proceed.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. The vote is now open on the motion.
Okay, that motion fails as well, 4-4. City Attorney Zarzaki?
My same comment applies, Mayor. If there's an impasse, certainly council can move on to the next item and perhaps come back at a later time. Alternatively, you can continue to deliberate amongst yourselves and come up with an additional or a subsequent idea. I will flag that I pulled the requested bylaws language, just to be clear, so everyone does know what they say. It does contemplate having one person appointed. So as I was saying earlier, I don't know what their philosophical position would be on a secondary appointment, but it is clear that they're trying to get one person appointed.
Okay, thank you.
It also does clarify that a nominated city representative must also be voted on by the board, by a majority of the board. So there's a subsequent action that has to take place by their board.
So their board could,
Yes, their board could say no, and then we would find ourselves here again having a conversation about a designee that was identified by council.
okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the next one, alternate roadway maintenance assessment. We'll invite Mayor Pro Tem Noble to introduce this item.
Thank you. There we go. Thank you very much, Mayor. I appreciate it. I have brought this forward after conversations with City Manager Rogers. We've been looking at this for some time. There have been road issues in Ward 4 because of the type of pavement that was used in parts of Ward 4. Due to that, there have been a lot of complaints that have come in to myself and also to the city. I would love to have City Manager Rogers explain more from the city's point of view where you see that we could head with this issue and what kind of resolution, what kind of analysis we would be looking at.
City Manager Rogers?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for the opportunity. To her point, yes, we have received, I would say, concerns and/or issues from the community, in particularly a handful of neighborhoods, with respect to a former practice that is no longer in play, and that is our chip seal practice. And I want to be very exact about this because I think in particular where our current operations land does not consider a bridge in regards to maintenance of our asphalt. So chip seal previously in our practice was an emulsified mixture of asphalt and water, which was sprayed into intervening cracks and or other raveling surface of our asphalt. We would then apply crushed gravel on top of that to compress to create a smooth driving basis to where a roadway would still score highly within our overall pavement condition index, but still just needed a bridge across that particular fissure. What we have seen over time at high friction points with the application of chip seal is that chip seal coming up and becoming loose or dislodged and creating a maintenance challenge for us as a city. Now, once again, chip seal is typically been applied to old pavement. I can't speak to when the last time that we've chip sealed, but to raise this is that in order to address it, what we've been doing is street sweeping, trying to pick up that loose gravel. But with doing the street sweeping, you dislodge more. So when we've actually have gone out and inspected some of our roadways with the various technology and or resources that we have to see whether or not a road of this type would qualify for a mill and overlay, it typically does not, because a mill and overlay has to score below 60 or below in order for it to be top lift of asphalt removed and then a new let down. From a crack seal perspective, we use hot asphalt mix, which is also a part of our mill and overlay process. So, but when you're dealing with chip seal, you have to possibly think about a different application to address unless that continual chip seal comes up in totality. So where that has put us is by doing this assessment to look at alternative application approaches that may be able to address cracks, cosmetic adjustments, and or raveling of surfaces. This will be able to give us the tools to think about not just necessarily within these potentially test case neighborhoods, but also then how to apply it more broadly across the city where there may have been an application of chip seal. I can't say today where that application of chip seal has been across the city, but at least if we've identified through this initial assessment, it will help for us to establish on how to address that when we've come across it, when we're having other requests from our community with respect to the entire city. So I actually think this is a good opportunity for us to explore if there is a missing program or a missing approach for us that needs to be applied as part of our deferred maintenance and pavement management program.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That explains it.
So City Manager Rogers, you need a motion to direct you into that, to conduct a roadway pavement asphalt assessment?
Yes, and I would just simply make one minor adjustment to it, because I don't think I in working with the Mayor Pro Tem was clear about how to use this data and information to speak comprehensively across the entire city. I think that would be my only adjustment to the motion.
Okay. Councilmember Teeter.
Yeah, I was kind of wanting to add something to that. After the CML conference that we all just attended, we learned quite a bit about different maintenance procedures that could be done, and I'd like to see the city investigate some of those. Some of them are just spraying the roads and making it so that it's kind of like you see these commercials on TV where they're spraying the roofs and making the roofs last twice as long. It's the same theory as spraying the roads, and where our roads that aren't chip sealed, just the regular roads that have been milled and relayed, when the joints come together, it seems after, I don't know, 5 or 7 years or somewhere in there, it starts to crack. And as soon as that crack starts to where they joint together, well, then the moisture gets in there, and you end up going down the road, a bumpy road, because the moisture washes away the base. And if these new processes will prevent that from happening, it would make sense to me to do a little maintenance in between putting the road down and save some money in the long run and make the roads last longer.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Teeter. I actually think we already have that base covered when we talk about alternative maintenance treatments to be able to explore, because I think what we would bring back to you is a full host or list of what we believe would be applicable to our climate condition and applicable to our roadway applications that serve as the basis for how we are developing, constructing, and maintaining long-term our roadways. So I think, simply put, that will already be covered as part of this discussion as it comes back to the council.
That being said, I'd like to make a motion that we include the whole city. And
I have a motion to make.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Mayor Pro Tem, I had cut you off. I thought you were done, so that's why I
No,
went to.
I wasn't done.
Yes, so Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah. So Mr. Rogers did this motion, has helped with this motion. So how would you like this motion that is in writing in our packet to be expressed now?
I think the motion as written expresses the desires of the motion maker as well as the Councilmember Teeter of looking broadly at what we can do with roadway maintenance application treatments. So I do not believe that there is a need for further refinement to that outside of what I had made, and making sure that we can look at this more broadly across the city and not just for the communities mentioned as part of our recommendation back to City Council.
Right. And where did you see that change being made, sir?
One moment, ma'am.
Sure.
I'm going to pull up the motion specifically.
I'm perfectly happy to have it looked at across Commerce City. And this has been an issue that I have been bringing forward to the city for at least 3 years or longer. So I'm happy to be at this point now. Last year, during our budget discussion, we had moved a couple of $1 million as well into doing some extra road maintenance.
So if I may, ma'am.
Sure.
I would say when you look at the last sentence, this analysis should include but not be limited to the root causes of current surface deterioration, comparing the long-term cost effectiveness of alternative maintenance treatments, and identifying funding required to complete alternative maintenance treatments that can be applied as part of the city's pavement management program, if warranted.
Okay, as part of the city's pavement management program. Okay. Alrighty, this is a long motion. It has a beginning as well, so. The city council, my motion is the city council. My motion is to direct the city manager to conduct a roadway pavement assessment of the chip seal and pavement issues in the Reunion, Buffalo Mesa, Buffalo Run, Buckley Ranch, and Outlook neighborhoods to determine if conditions are warranted for alternative maintenance treatments. This analysis should include, but not be limited to, the root causes of current surface deterioration, comparing the long-term cost effectiveness of alternative maintenance treatments, and identifying funding required to complete alternative maintenance treatments as part of the city's pavement maintenance program, if warranted.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
You forgot to include the whole city.
That is the motion.
You forgot to include the whole city.
Pardon me?
You forgot to include the whole city.
Pardon me?
You forgot to include the whole city. Is that what you?
I said
I
yes.
think she
He
covered
said-
that. She covered that as part of the pavement management program, which is what we apply across the city as when we're going through our bidding process. I think the heart of the motion captures that we want to bring back what we believe are the alternative treatment applications that can be applied to chip seal, but obviously whatever is applied to chip seal, which is worst case scenario that we have on our roadways, will also capture more of the routine situations that we have with crack repairs, potholes, and the like. So I think it gives broad effect for us to be able to come back with recommendations and programmatic adjustments or proposals.
Okay, I'm sorry, I just thought maybe you wanted that language in there, so.
Okay.
Councilmember Dukes?
No, my request was to provide a friendly amendment very similar to Councilmember Teeter's.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Yeah. Councilmember Teeter, were you second?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, the motion on the floor The city council directs city manager to conduct a roadway pavement assessment of chip seal and pavement issues in the Reunion, Buffalo Mesa, Buffalo Run, Buckley Ranch, and Outlook in neighborhoods to determine if the conditions are warranted for alternative maintenance treatment. This analysis should include, but not limited to the root cause of surface deterioration, comparing the long-term effectiveness of the alternative maintenance treatment, and identifying funding required to complete alternate maintenance treatments if warranted for the entire city.
No, it's alternative maintenance treatments as part of the city's pavement maintenance program, if warranted.
Okay, well, I'm just reading what I have, sorry about that. Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead and add the last part, the city pavement maintenance program.
If
Thank you.
warranted.
If warranted.
Yes, sir, and yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, thank you.
That's correct.
All right, we're ready. City Clerk.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. The vote
Thank
is
you.
now open on the motion. Councilmember Trujillo. Oh, do you want to vote on the motion? Did you hear it? Or? Okay, I will mark you as absent for the motion.
Okay, that passed unanimous with 7 yeses and 2 absence votes.
And Mayor, I have a point of order.
Sure.
My point of order is that when a council member, this is for future reference, the point of order is when a council member has the floor, as Councilmember Teeter had, it's not appropriate to cut him off mid-sentence until you give the floor to another person. I found that out of order, and I would appreciate in the future that we don't do that.
Okay. I, in fact, was out of order myself, Councilmember Dukes, because I had cut Mayor Pro Tem off. My thinking was she was done and not allowing her to complete as far as making her motion.
Correct.
All right, moving on to presentation, Environmental Policy Innovation Commission Annual Update. I will invite Derek Singleton forward to make the presentation. Green button, there we go.
There we go, perfect. All right. Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Derek Singleton. I am the chairperson for the Environmental Policy and Innovation Commission. And yeah, thank you again for the reappointment to this commission, all of you for voting me through. And today I'm going to go through our updates, yearly updates that we have now that we are a full commission. So next slide. Thank you. So jumping right in, we established long-term goals, and I wanted to share those with you. So in order to ensure the clarity and accountability of those long-term goals and be in line with the sustainability action plan that y'all have set forward, we came up with kind of 3 overarching goals and guidelines. So the first is air quality and emission reduction. The second is urban forestry and green infrastructure, followed by community education and engagement or outreach. All right. And so with the air quality and emission reduction, we have made a few strides going along, most notably being able to recommend policy to the City Council for voting in order to maintain an anti-idling campaign. So that is a big win that I think we were able to get through. Urban forestry and green infrastructure, you'll see a presentation next week, I believe, with Planet Geo going over their findings for tree canopy and ways to improve the canopy itself and increase from a 3% to 20%. Finally, community education and engagement. We have been able to partner with a lot of local nonprofits as well as many of the different schools around town, and you'll hear a little bit more about that. All right, next slide, please. So 2025 accomplishments, because last I spoke to y'all was July of 2025. I wanted to give you an update on the last half of last year. And so we moved from a committee to a commission, created and updated our bylaws, as well as a new work plan that aligns with the Commerce City Sustainability Action Plan. We funded and supported the first ever community garden with Lester Arnold, the school, supported Cultivando's Eco Fiesta. We took a tour at Republic Landfill. That's where this picture's at or from. And then finally, we supported the University of Colorado Boulder's Master's Environmental Studies students in a tree canopy project. All right, next slide. Thank you. All right, so 2026, these are our goals for 2026 as well as our short-term goals. So a major component of this is to engage with the community, partners, as well as the experts to inform and support the following key actions. So the first of those key actions is to finalize our subcommittee assignments and policy priorities. And again, we kind of focus these priorities and policy priorities based off of the Sustainability Action Plan. Second is conduct research and develop problem statements for each of those focus areas. And finally, identify the best practices and innovative approaches from peer cities. All right, next slide, please. Thank you. All right, so continuing on with our 2026 progress, community dialogue and engagement. So we have been able to reach out and table a few booths, as well as gain more insight from the community about problems that are of big concern from them. And anti-idling support from the community. We've partnered with local artists to develop the first ever epic superhero and the accompanying mini comic story. So this is a way to kind of get a little bit more influence and notoriety, I guess, for Epic to be able to lend ourselves to get more feedback a little easier. And then we further supported the Lester Arnold Community Garden. So we plans to expand to other areas as well. And so over here on the picture on the right, you see the start of that community garden at Lester Arnold. Finally, at the end of the fiscal year, we purchased and distributed air purifiers for those impacted by increased risk of air pollution within the city. And we did this in collaboration with CDPHE. All right, next slide, please. As I mentioned before, we have been engaging with the community, and a lot of that has been with the experts and nonprofit organizations. And so here's a list of all of the people and nonprofits and experts that we have received presentations with and partnered with. So to include Planet Geo, the tree canopy survey, which again, y'all will be able to hear more about next week. The South Adams County and Water Sanitation District, as well as E3, City's Attorney Office, the Rocky Mountain Arsenal Site Specific Advisory Board, Lester Arnold, Community Garden Representative, Excel Energy's partner in Energy EV Readiness Plan, as well as Sand Creek Regional Greenway. We do have an upcoming presentation from the U.S. Army at Rocky Mountain Arsenal. It's part of their 5-year review, and that should be happening in August or September. All right, next question. There we go. Okay, so thank you for y'all's time. If y'all have any questions, please let me know, and hopefully I'll be able to see everyone at one of our next meetings. We do have one this Thursday at 4:30 at the Arapahoe Building, 6th floor. So we'd love to see everyone there. That'd be great.
All right, thank you, Chair Singleton, for your presentation. Really appreciate myself and Mayor Pro Tem Noble we are non-voting members on there, and we do appreciate you chairing the meeting. Councilmember Kim.
Yeah, Mr. Singleton, great presentation. Thank you very much for sharing exactly what you guys have been doing last year and also what you guys are planning to do this year. My question is surrounding the anti-idling enforcement. I believe Commerce City does not have a anti-idling ordinance out there. I know you guys are probably currently working on one. It's great to see, but I know enforcement can also be very tricky. Just kind of wondering, are you guys looking at educational campaigns or active code enforcement in your sensitive areas?
Yes. Yeah, so the anti-idling campaign was kind of a two-pronged approach. The first was coming up with a policy recommendation or guidelines of what other either nearby cities or cities that we would like to strive to be aligned with. So that's kind of like that first policy approach. The second is that education and outreach. So we were able to partner with a couple of schools. We can't mandate anything, obviously, but we are able to talk to some of the schools nearby and offer, hey, it would be nice if you're able to put up some signs. So we did have signs made saying anti-idling areas, and some of the schools have been able to at least hear us out on those approaches.
Okay, and my last question is, do you guys have any current challenges you guys are currently running through that you may or may not need support from council?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges is trying to get more feedback, right? We are a Environmental Policy Innovation Commission. We're formally an advisory committee, and so part of that is kind of taking any thoughts or questions that city council might have and be able to explore that a little bit more, either through research or through engaging with community members. And so I think that's one of the biggest challenges is not seeing everyone. It'd be nice to be able to hear any concerns that anyone or everyone on council has.
Okay. Well, I really don't have any concerns right now. So I'm looking forward to that anti-idling policy, hopefully coming through sometime in the near future. Great job to you and the team as far as what accomplishments that you guys done last year and also into this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Kim. Councilmember Dukes.
Thank you, and thank you for taking the time to present, and congrats on being reappointed to the commission. As far as feedback, one thing that I look forward to seeing from the commission is just what are neighboring cities doing? It could be regional approach, it could be what North Glen, it could look at Brighton. I think as a city, we are primed to really be a leader in this space. However, we just need more examples and conversations around what's practical and what neighboring communities are doing that we can begin to implement. One of the hopes for the commission is that this is a innovative space that says, hey, here's what we're thinking about. And it's not so much of a, we talked about this during your interview, it's more of a, here's a practice, here are some policies we're seeing. It's going to be helpful for us as council to make key decisions when we have the full range and the full depth of research or examples. Maybe not, a peer review literature, but more like what are examples? This group, and I don't want to speak for the council itself, I'll I'd say overall, I think we are excited to figure out how we play a bigger role in helping be practical as well as being forward-thinking for our whole community. This commission is a key place for that. And so we look forward to some of that. So that's my feedback. The challenge, as you may know, is that we don't all go to commission meetings because we have assigned commissions. So we rely on our 2 delegates that go to the meetings to come back and share out. That's typically how it works, but you can email us individually, or you can, run by me when I do pickup and drop off. So we can talk in that detail as well, but that's typically how it works. That's why you haven't seen us all at the different commissions, because we're spread out, and then we rely on our delegates to inform us as well, and so that's kind of our process. But the big piece is we love to hear practices, love to hear the pros and cons of what's happening, and then as a council, we want to embrace how do we, how clean air, clean water, clean environment for our city, but we just want to know what's practical.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Dukes. Mayor Pro Tem Noble?
Thank you, Mr. Singleton. Appreciate it very much. And I'm really impressed with the commission and also with the new appointees to the commission as well. I thank the boards and commissions group for adding some really quality people to the commission as well, to join the other quality people who are already there. We have talked at some of the meetings about having policy discussions and moving things forward, suggestions, making recommendations to the city council. And so I know that that's something that will be worked on going forward as well. So thank you very much. You've done a lot of great work thus far, and I know there's a lot more to come. Certainly, Commerce City is one of those areas that is ripe for discussion about environmental issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Teeter?
Yeah, thanks for your presentation. But I wanted to address the idling issue. And I think it's a problem right now, asking people to shut their cars off while they're waiting in line at the bank or whatever, when it's 90 degrees outside. Inside your car, it's probably 113 degrees, and I think that could be hazardous to the elderly, hazardous to the kids. And, there's some situations you could shut it off, but there's also some that just you're putting people's health at risk by shutting them off, you're shutting off the air conditioner. Same thing with the fire trucks and stuff. These guys are out doing inspections and they're having to take fire trucks out there. Well, they got the motor sitting inside that engine with them, and it's hot in there. You shut it off, and it gets hot real quick inside that truck, and it just it sounds like it's a good policy, but in real life, it just doesn't work. I mean, in certain situations. So just something to think about.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Teeter. Councilmember Young?
Thank you so much for your presentation and all of the hard work that you're doing. I agree with my colleagues that we really could be at the forefront and maybe cutting edge of some really nice impact when it comes to our environment. And I am just really curious about what you learned at the Republic landfill. And I'm asking because I'm hearing a lot. I know you didn't prepare, so just off the cuff. And I'm asking because I am hearing a lot of buzz and a lot of conversations about the impact of composting and obviously recycling. But I'm just curious to hear what you learned at Republic.
Yeah, okay. Again, off the cuff. Yeah, so I think the main kind of takeaway from that tour was how trash and or recycling is processed, how it is pulled through, where kind of like the start of the truck leaving the facility, picking it up, and actually taking it back and the whole processing, right? You have to be able to bury the trash. You have to be able to account for any hazardous materials. You have your tires, all of this, any kind of, hazardous materials, hazardous waste, and how that can be accounted for and how that actually could potentially pollute any surrounding areas, and what companies are doing, specifically Republic, are doing to mitigate those, right? And I don't want to go into the whole like big barriers and everything, but there's a lot of different ways to stop that. So I think that's one of the biggest things, but also to your point with like composting, right? It would be amazing to have composting pulled out through here, but what are the actual logistics around getting composting for not just single family dwellings, but all areas throughout the city, right? Not to mention the schools and all of these places that are here that reside inside of these city limits. So it's kind of an eye-opening experience to kind of learn a little bit more.
So, as a representative of this commission, what was your takeaway from that tour? What was your did you have an aha moment or a takeaway?
I think I wasn't on the tour.
Okay.
I got all of the rundown from everyone, and this was back in 2025. So
Fair enough.
But I think those were kind of like my big takeaways from
Gotcha.
everything, right? It kind of spurred on this additional idea that I was like, oh, it would be really cool to see composting, and that has become kind of like my small pet project, and I've been trying to dive in a little bit deeper and trying to understand that. And I think my last aha moment didn't come from the tour, but it kind of stemmed from that, was that Commerce City is one of the only cities, or the only city in Colorado that's paying for all of our trash pickup, and that is really cool. I lived in Aurora, and then I moved here, and I was just kind of waiting to find out how this was going to happen, and I thought I was getting away with something when we first moved here. I was like, oh yeah, hey, they're taking the trash, and then I didn't even know that until about 2-3 months after that tour. So
Nice.
That's my aha moment.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate all of your work, and we appreciate this commission. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioners before I go to round two? Mayor Pro Tem Noble?
Thank you. I just wanted to bring up something about the anti-idling, is that Epic had been very interested in doing this, but what I saw in Mr. Singleton's presentation was enforcement, because there is an existing law that was passed in 2024. It is 24-1341, prohibits vehicles from idling for more than 5 minutes within any 60-minute period. So that's up to the city then to enforce the state law. I just wanted to make that clear. And also, in case anybody's cold, if the temperature is 10 degrees or less, you don't have to worry about the law, or it's an emergency or something like that. So there, it is in existence. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Noble. Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you again, Mr. Singleton. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Presentation. We'll see you this Thursday. Okay, up next, Draft Capital Investment Program. I'll invite Chris Johnson forward to make the presentation. Good evening, Ms. Wilson.
I want to introduce my wonderful budget manager, Chris Johnson, who I know you are all familiar with. He will be giving the presentation tonight, and we look forward to running through it with you and answering any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to begin by saying thank you to City Manager Rogers as well as Council for the opportunity to present the staff recommendation for the first year of the 2027 to 2031 draft capital investment program. Before we get into that recommendation, I just want to give you some background on how the planning process goes about and what work we do to get to this point. This process changed around 4 years ago to where we had the implementation of a CIP team. Now, this team is made up of subject matter experts from the Public Works Department, Parks, Rec, and Golf Department, Finance, as well as City Manager and Community Development. So it's a brain trust from across the organization that helps us prioritize and score our CIP projects to meet all charter provisions and update the 5-year budget. The timeline starts off almost as the last budget is adopted. We get going in initial planning and then have our first CIP team meeting in March. And then we gather all the CIP requests for the 5-year program, and then our next session is in April. And this we call the project information session because it's basically where the team reviews every single project submitted and gets to ask questions based on our scoring criteria to try to be able to score the projects effectively. In May, we get all the scores returned from the members on the team and start to review funding availability, which leads us into our project selection, working and then taking it to City Council for your first look at the draft. Part of that work comes down to breaking down our CIP projects into different categories. We have our priority number 1 capital maintenance projects, which break down into our 1A preventative maintenance and 1B periodic maintenance. The 1A preventative maintenance, which I'll go into a little bit more, which projects contains those, is considered our tier 1 projects. Those projects are funded by our CIP specific sources and are not scored. Every other project is submitted in the 1B and capital 2 are then scored and ranked depending on the outcomes of that scoring. Our 1A projects are are represented on this slide. You can see the vast majority come from the Public Works Department, things from bridge maintenance, flat work, to some of those like our Core City Infrastructure Pavement Management Program and street reconstruction were reviewed in council at our 5/11 meeting a few months back. It's crazy that's already been 2 months. And most of these have something to do on the public works side, have to do with roads. And then the PRG preservation below has to repairs and maintenance at our several parks throughout the city. The grand total of all these projects ends up being about $10.6 million, and those are funded with our CIP dedicated funding sources. So this one goes through every source that we use to fund these projects, with the top 2 being our main 2 fund balance reserves, and then highway user tax, county shared revenues, conservative trust fund are the main ones that do provide the funding for those 1A projects. So our 1A projects basically uses the entirety of those CIP specific revenue sources, along with the solid waste fees gathered from Republic Services. There's other items like impact fees where they can be applicable. We can dip into our internal service fund, retain earnings. We did that last year. And then in our URAs, sometimes the tax incrementing financing is the way to get projects done. Our methodology breaks down is basically the CIP's revenues as well as transfers from other funds go into our capital expenditure funds to fund these projects. One thing we always do is only try to use 50% of our 2027 projected revenues. That provides a contingency in case any of those revenues come in a little shorter than predicted. We wouldn't have to pull from any of our projects, as we are only using about half of those. When we get together to score the projects, these are the criteria. We look at obligation and commitments. Is there a legal commitment, or did we get into an IGA where this money is already committed? We look to find grants and other external revenues if a project is able to take advantage of some of those revenues, that is a boon for the scoring. We look at public safety from a variety of ways. Could be, safety of citizens crossing the road, or safety in a traditional public safety thing, and then shovel readiness, cost of deferral, equity, quality of life, as well as the impact on operations budgets. If avoiding a repair or avoiding a construction project causes our maintenance or external things to continue to rise and continue to absorb a lot of costs, sometimes the improvement can do effect on that, and other times a capital project will cause the needs to have additional staff as well as additional supplies and things, so it could have a negative impact on operations budget. So we look for both sides of that. Before we get into the recommendation, I just wanted a quick review of our fund balances in general fund and 2K. We ended 25 at 54.3 million, and then with the amount to use the budget as well as a couple of ordinances expected to go out, our remaining unassigned fund balance currently sits at 49.3. And for 2K, we started 2025 or ended 2025 at 16.6. With the expected amount to balance the budget, we're looking at 12.6 million remaining there. For the initial recommendation, there are several projects of all different types included in here. You have 68th, Colorado to Brighton, ADA ramp replacements, our safety action plan, Chambers Road, as well as some Highway 2 streetlight work with theft prevention, along with Colorado Boulevard and Bison Ridge Park were our 2 new capital improvements. And then our 1B project selected this year were a Civic Center generator, a well house replacement for the golf course, as well as a Bison Ridge pool replaster. When we look at the type of funding needed to provide for all those projects, it's going to be just shy of 4 million from the general fund, as well as 3.6 million from 2K. And then for Bison Ridge Park, we want to tap into the parks impact fees. For 500K, we'll only provide the design, but we look to use those in the out years to finish the park, and it's a total of 8.1 million. We wanted to point back to some of the other plans in the strategic alignment. The transportation plan and the Parks Master Plan went into helping us prioritize these projects. As we could see, the Chambers 68 Safety Action Plan, as well as Highway 2 work, was adopted as high priorities in that plan. And then the Bison Ridge Park will accomplish a Parks Master Plan goal priority of adding pickleball courts. The transportation plan and the Parks Master Plan also went into our work into our Horizon projects list. This is a little smaller than it has been in years past, as we're trying to focus on the plan or on the projects included in those plans to make sure we're not stretching too far. And then finally, as a reminder to both council and the citizens watching, that all CIP projects that are currently funded and currently underway can be reviewed and monitored on our CIP dashboard available on the city website. You can get project updates as well as how the spending is going on all current funded CIP projects. And at that, I will turn it over to you guys for discussion and questions.
Okay. Council have questions? Well, thank you very much for that. That's, so far, my tenure on council, that's really good that you brought these out and you identified what we've been asking, to see go forward, and then hearing from the public as well. So that list incorporates that very well. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Mayor Pro Tem Noble.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I actually have questions for City Manager Rogers.
Absolutely.
Okay, so earlier in June, we received an email about the watershed for the folks who were speaking to us earlier during public comment. And the discussion was to have a watershed study to determine how to address the drainage issues in that area in Adams Heights. I see that there was, stormwater was one of the chosen ones for this year. Is that going to happen this year? Or is that something that we should ask for next year? I'm not certain where to put it to make sure that these folks are getting their needs addressed.
Yeah. Great question, Mayor Pro Tem. So what you raise is absolutely an accurate response that I provided to the council, and generally has shared publicly in one of my report outs, is that we would be undertaking this year, under this capital budget reserve that we have been able to identify and be able to apply to what we are calling the Adams Heights Drainage Study and Implementation Plan. We are in the process of finalizing a contract for execution so that we'll be able to begin the work within the coming weeks, coming months. Similarly, I think, just as a point of clarification, while I have council's attention around the Colorado Boulevard design at a request of $500,000, we are receiving $500,000 from the county this year to begin the design work. It is our updated estimates that it will take $1 million to complete the design work for Colorado Boulevard from 68th Avenue down to Brighton Road. So we are asking for the 2027 budget. We'll have enough to get us through this year, but we'll need the remaining $500,000 to get us through the design process, which will creep into 2027. Hence, that's why you see that up there. So I want to be clear with the community that while it may appear that we have pushed that initiation of design off to 2027, no, it's for us to be able to close out the design so that we can then transition to hopefully construction activities in 2027, 2028, which will then see a CIP budget request in 2028 unless we've identified other funding sources to support the construction of that project.
Okay, great. And I have a second question, which is about Bison Ridge Park. So we're going to have a whole lot of people really, really happy to have pickleball courts, no question about it. But it has been so darn hot that I've started getting emails again or comments on social media and things that I post about an outdoor pool. And of course, the only outdoor pools in North Commerce City are in the community of Reunion, and those are like HOA kind of pools. So is a pool under consideration for Bison Ridge Park? Or I noticed there was a lap pool mentioned as well. I don't know if that's indoors or outdoors.
I do want to bring that attachment up. In discussion, I think another great question, it was a trade-off of looking at what I would say, prioritization or the request that we had seen during the Parks and Rec Golf Master Plan. So tennis courts, pickleball courts, or outdoor pool. I will say operationally, as we were kind of going through the consideration of where we stand today, the pickleball courts, the tennis courts, given the existing application of an outdoor pool in our core city with the addition of 2 indoor pools, and knowing that there is the need for a future outdoor pool at some point in time to serve our growing community as we continue to see a population boom, that we wanted to put more emphasis on the immediate needs that we were seeing and hearing from the community, which is what's reflected in additional park space that was already contemplated for Bison Ridge, but the pickleball and tennis ball courts, because this is literally, I would say, this is one of the few, if only, places that we could identify within our existing assets to be able to meet that need.
Yeah, and also it's away from homes. Great, thank you very much.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Councilmember Guardiola.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I think it's, for the whole presentation, very educational and informative. I do just have a quick question, real quick, thank you, City Manager Rogers, for explaining what we're doing in Adams Heights. I think sometimes residents don't see the bigger picture, and false narratives are out there. So I appreciate you letting us know that we are working on different things in Ward 1. For the Highway 2 street light theft prevention, could you explain what that is? Again, tonight, that public comment came in about they stole the street lights in Adams Heights. Could you explain that and what it is, and is it necessary elsewhere in the city?
As far as if it's necessary elsewhere, I may have to defer to City Manager Roger, but I can explain what it is. It's basically the terminal boxes providing a safety enclosure around them so they are not as easy to break in. It was one of the things on the safety issues of that stretch of highway was that the streetlights were going out too often. So as there was, if you looked at the list, there was plenty of Highway 2 projects on there, but we, as a committee, thought it was better to try to stop that from happening so we could, get the streetlight setting up and then going forward, look at the, the median and the other safety projects along that corridor.
Thank you. City Manager Roger, is there a plan to look at the whole city, especially down in the core where I think that pops up a lot more?
Great question, Councilmember Guardiola. I think when we thought about this, obviously this is more of a targeted measure because of just the thoroughfare in discussion. That being said, our city has been working behind the scenes with the two utility providers, Xcel Energy as well as United Power. Even though there's not a funding request of this, we are still negotiating with them, discussing with the potential transition of our streetlights to being owned and operated by the city or maintained by the city, and assessing as new streetlights come on, who should be the applicable body to, once again, provide that maintenance and operation. So there's discussions ongoing. I think we need to continue to flesh out those details. As you know, there's a very limited number of streetlights that we as the city own. There are pockets that we do along our rights of way, but the majority of them do fall within that. So I think we have to get through that process to understand the potential expenditure obligation that we would be taking on and what it would be necessary before we can come to this council with some level of confidence on what we are asking for funding can be able to meet that need. But yes, there is just simply saying, yes, we are thinking about it. We are having talks. And as we get further, there will be more discussion with this body.
Cool, thank you. And again, I appreciate the process. Again, bringing all departments, folks, to come to the conclusion that we have. It brings the whole city together. So I appreciate all the hard work that the staff and I think it gives us enough information that we really do trust our staff. You guys are the experts. You guys are the experts. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Dukes.
Thank you. I just want to echo Councilmember Guardiola's point around this process. Being able to bring in the different master plans to create a synergy around these are what we heard from the community that provided a lot of feedback to create, whether it's the transportation master plan, the Parks Rec and Golf master plan. Oftentimes these plans go and they get started and we get community engagement and people forget that this is the driving force from your input. So I really appreciate that. And it brings me to the next point around communication. I'd love to know what's your communication strategy in a way that say, hey, we heard you from the different plans, master plans, transportation, comprehensive plan, and here is what came to fruition with the CIP. Not just our list, but like, here is the process so we can educate someone more. And my last point before City Manager Rogers, we jump in. I know you're ready. I'm gonna pass you the ball, Coach. We're ready. So my other point is just look at this list, and I'm thankful again for the process, but also thankful for this is a list that is across the full city. Oftentimes we talk about north and south, but it's more than just north and south of our city. We need to think about the east and west, and these are projects that are going to help the full city. So thank you. City Manager Rogers.
So, Councilmember, I think you raised something that's an important detail that as we continue to evolve our thinking and delivery of these potential projects to the council and to the broader community, how do we position the discussion around these potential projects as linkages, nodes, and connection points to delivering on that quality of a lifetime or the amenities that need to be accessed. I would say when we get to the budget, which will be during the formative discussion in late September, October, we can bring back what we think is a high-level plan that will be able to communicate not just necessarily the CIP, but also the budget and how it relates to our various constituents that call Commerce City home, both businesses and our residents, and how we position that for them to be aware of where they're at, where we are at in the step of the budget process and what it means to then see the next step come to light.
Thank you.
So I think we can build towards that, and I think that's important now that we have a very diverse capacity within our finance and our communications team to really think about how we can start to continue that positive messaging.
And I appreciate that. And it's also part of the positive messaging is just the level setting and helping people understand the normacy of us as a city. As we grow, it's not one side versus the other side. It is different needs and challenges. But collectively, we're a city that is expanding and a city that's going to have different challenges of different neighborhoods. And so this collectively does that. And I love for that to be a positive to say, we heard you, we are sending this out. The last piece I just want to highlight as a thank you and gratitude, this really reflects what we talked about at our council retreat. One of the key priorities we discussed was public safety and infrastructure, and you see is reflected in this capital improvement request. And so I thank you for that, for taking the time to have us have the retreat, talk about some of the big priorities, and then really be able to dive into the plans, our priorities, the residents and what their words and their hopes and fears are. And so thank you for all that as a city team.
Councilmember Trujillo.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Johnson, thank you so much for the presentation. A lot of my colleagues have already kind of expressed my appreciation for certain parts of this presentation, but I really want to highlight and emphasize the project scoring criteria. I think that is extremely helpful. It enables us to have conversations around, why certain projects are selected over others. So thank you very, very much for that.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Young.
Thank you so much for your presentation. And as a team and a city staff, thank you for all of your hard work. I know that trying to pull together all of the priorities and all the concerns and all of the different plans and is an enormous project. And I just want to echo what Councilmember Trujillo said about your scoring criteria. And I think what that communicates to our residents is that there is a lot of care and thoughtfulness that goes into weighing and considering all the different projects that, frankly, we could prioritize all of them. They're all important, right? So what this shows me is just the equity in decision-making and the thoughtfulness that we are a big city. There is a lot to be done here, and that you put a lot of time and effort. So thank you for all of your hard work, and thank you for this. I appreciate you all.
Thank you. Any other council members? Yes, thank you very much for putting this together. I 3 years ago when I first got on council, we had a first retreat. We talked about getting back to the basics. And this right here really touches that, making sure people's, when it comes to health, safety, and environment, recreational needs, and just long-term. So when these aren't Band-Aids, these are projects that are going to take care of different infrastructure for long-term. So I really appreciate that thoughtfulness. And then it's in a way on the map, the list of projects we have, so people can understand on the map, or maybe you could have like a little red dot or something that shows, yeah, there you go. And then just like a little summary. So if someone clicks on the map, they can see a summary of what's being taken care of, what the timeline is. I mean, I think that'd be really helpful.
Speaking to the dashboard, Mayor, I think it's absolutely possible that we can do what you're asking for. I think as we take the necessary steps, as we continue to build out the budget, I don't want to steal Mr. Johnson's thunder of how he wants to bring this home for council so that he can get back with his team on getting us to that stage. But I think the end product will be something very similar to what you can find on our existing projects. But we have to get to that decision-making point first before we do so. We just want to make sure that we don't get out over our skis on this. But we're getting the appropriate guidance along the way for us to be able to firm it up.
All right, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Noble?
I have one other question. Given our unanimous vote earlier for the analysis of the roads in Commerce City and alternative measures, what kind of a timeline do you think you would see on that and those kind of repairs? We're not looking at the 2027 budget? It's more
Yeah.
like 2028, or is it something that could come out of the general fund?
Thank you for that, Mayor Pro Tem. I think it can come out of the unassigned general fund balance. Once we think we've applied what we believe is the state-of-the-art innovative approach to our payment management practice. And if there's adjustments that need to be made, we can do so in that aspect. I think the timing, just with where we're at today and when that would be brought back before you all, there will be some overlap, but we'll be well into the development of those documents necessary for us to submit the budget by the statutory deadline. Simply put, I think there's a pathway for us to fund, if warranted, and how to do so. That can be a complement or a supplement to our CIP programmatic approach, 1A, 1B, and 2. That then will become more inherent as we build for the 2028 budget.
All right, great. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Johnson, appreciate it.
Yep, and just to kind of round out City Manager Rogers' point, the budget process is a year-long process. We, are just kind of in the beginning parts of it.
Sure.
From your comments tonight, we're going to go with the staff recommendation and build out the five-year full CIP, which will be in front of you at both the council workshop and when we bring together the opening of the public hearing in October. So just thank you for your comments and thank you for your time.
Appreciate you. And thank you, Ms. Wilson, as well. Thank you. All right, on to consent agenda, but before we get there, we're going to take an 8-minute break. We'll be back at 8, please. I need one more.
But I wanted to thank you first.
Are we ready to roll?
Just need one more.
Yes.
We need one more.
Just need one more.
Come on. Chip, chop, chip.
All right, onto the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes items that are routine, procedural, informational, self-explanatory, and non-controversial. These items are presented to council for a single motion and a vote. Any council members may ask to remove a specific item off the consent agenda for further discussion and separate vote. Tonight, there are 6 items of consent agenda. Do any council members wish to remove any items? Councilmember Kim?
Yes, I'd like to remove proclamation 26-024.
Thank you. Any other council members? All right, I'd like to remove resolution 2026-081 and ordinance 2782. Okay, I need a motion second to approve the consent agenda as amended. Councilmember Kim?
So moved.
I'll second. Okay, will the city clerk read the title and take a roll call vote, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. That leaves 3 items remaining on the consent agenda. Minutes of the July 6, 2026 regular meeting. Ordinance 2783, an ordinance amending the 2026 budget of the City of Commerce City, Colorado by the recognition of grant funding from the Colorado Department of Local Affairs, the Colorado Department of Transportation, and the Denver Regional Council of Governments, and the authorization of the expenditure thereof. And ordinance 2792, an ordinance amending Article 2 of Chapter 3 of the Commerce City Revised Municipal Code regarding administrative enforcement and hearings. And the vote is now open.
Okay, it passed unanimous with 8 votes and 1 excused absence. Okay, on to the pulled agenda items, consent items. Go to Councilmember Kim. Proclamation 26-024.
Yeah, so the proclamation declaring August 2026 as Employee Appreciation Month in Commerce City, Colorado. I'd like to invite our new HR Director, Ms. Tamara Dixon, to please read the proclamation. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council and City leadership. Well, this is an honor. I wasn't expecting to be able to speak this evening. Before I read the proclamation, I just have to note, as a new employee, I'm 6 weeks in, it's been amazing to me to see how this city truly does appreciate its employees, just listening to you all this evening. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. Whereas Commerce City is building a quality community for a lifetime, for growing a community of more than 70,000 residents and 1,700 businesses. And whereas the city's employees, numbering more than 1,100, strive to achieve this mission daily, providing excellent public services and customer experiences by anticipating needs, embracing diversity, inclusion, and belonging, and fostering relationships to sustain a growing and vibrant community. And whereas city leadership wishes to recognize employees' contributions to the community through quality customer service and demonstrating their values of integrity, collaboration, innovation, respect, and excellence. And whereas the City Council of the City of Commerce City wishes to recognize and reward employees for their engagement, dedicated service, and outstanding achievements. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of Commerce City hereby proclaims the month of August 2026 as Employee Appreciation Month, thanking the city's employees for all their hard work and dedication to the City of Commerce City.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. Wait, don't walk away. So, thank you very much. We appreciate your 6 weeks in.
Yes.
And I see you love where you work,
Absolutely.
And to appreciate it, that's great. I mean, a lot of employees that I've spoken to over the years appreciate the fact that they have a job here in the city, and it really motivate them to come in and show up for work.
Yes.
They really love the interaction of our residents as well, because sometimes the residents are the employees we have. Sometimes those only residents they engage with our employees is the ones on the street doing actual work. So as far as outdoor work goes, so I appreciate, commend City Manager Rogers for making sure things go where they're supposed to be, and because this is a ship that, you know, we're set on a course, and I think we're meeting those demands. So, like I said, I appreciate your 6 weeks in.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Yes, Councilmember Kim.
Yeah, thank you. Didn't realize this was a surprise for you to read, first off, so I do blame the NCAA teams, Virginia and Auburn, for, you know, messing this up. So that's why probably San Antonio lost too in the NBA. Anyways, but I'd like to just let's go and process through. I'd like to make a motion to approve the proclamation declaring August 2026 Employee Appreciation Month. This is Proclamation 26024. Looking for a second.
Thank you, Councilmember Kim. Councilmember Guardiola.
Second motion.
Okay. Any discussion? Any comments? All right. Ready to take the vote? And after the vote, we'll make you come up. We're going to come out and take a picture with you. With all the city staff.
Thank you, Mayor. The vote is now open on the proclamation.
Okay, that vote's 8-1. All right. Let's get this started. Where'd he go?
Unless you want to have it in HR?
Why not?
Well, it is.
All right, the next one is pulled. It was a resolution awarding a contract to Blue Line Sports and Entertainment for a community ice rink. City Manager Rogers had a question. It says this is I know the last year we did the ice rink and then this year. And so when we did this new one, it's just for 1 year, correct?
I would like to pull up the contract in particular, Mayor, to make sure that I am referencing how we have established the terms of service. Bear with me one moment. In actuality, that's correct. I do not have, it is not attached to the agenda. What you have is a resolution. I think as I get ahead of myself on a number of other contracts that are within my authority, we are still in the process of negotiating the contract and could then be able to provide you the language within the draft that we have that's going back and forth. But I think as what you are finding, similarly to what we had in the ice skating rink previously, is that we look at it on a per annum basis to make determinations based on performance metrics and other benchmarks. And if it's not successful or if we need to pivot, we have the ability to do so. But I can't speak to that particular language as I do not have the draft readily accessible.
Okay.
As I say that, Batman to my left has come to my saving. The city attorney has made me aware that it is a one-year contract with optional renewals based on these performance metrics and/or benchmarks. So, thank you, Mr. Bruce Wayne.
All right. And then as far as this contract, I know last year after we, concluded, we had a follow-up and all that, and some questions came up. I had a question about, out of the 1,266 participants, how many were actually 80022 as far as Commerce City residents?
That's a great question, man. I know it was highlighted as something that we wanted better identification of data for our awareness of the reach that we had for our community. The vendor was unable to provide that data to us. We are hoping as we are engaged with the company at hand that we'll be able to have better access to this type of data source.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Any other questions? All right. Let's see here. I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-801. Oh, City Clerk, could you read the title and take a roll call vote? Sorry about that.
Mayor, yeah, I'd be happy to read the title, and I'll also read it when we vote on it.
Oh, sorry, need a second. Councilmember Guardiola.
Second the motion.
Sorry about that. Thank you. All right, you may proceed. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2026-081, a resolution awarding a contract to Blue Line Sports and Entertainment for a community ice rink. And the vote is now open.
Okay, it passed unanimously 8-1. Okay, I pulled the ordinance 2782, the ordinance amending the 2026 budget of Commerce City by appropriating unencumbered fund balance in the general fund, the amount of $463,040 for the use of outdoor community ice rink and the authorization of the expenditure thereof. Question I have on this here, I know it breaks down the vendors, out of this $463,040, how much of that are we looking at with the vendors as far as, does that go over that amount or is that included the amount?
Thank you, Mayor. I think what you're asking, I just want to make sure I'm hearing this clearly, is the total budgeted dollar amount for 483,000?
463, yeah,
463, excuse me. And that is, yes, sir. It is for what you find that is proposed as the appropriation that is covered within, which would be obviously be covered within the not to exceed within our future contract. Obviously, like last year, we would look and seek sponsorship support that would allow for us to draw that overall expenditure from the general fund down and then to be supplemented by that way. But we have to encumber the full contractual amount for us first and foremost before we can then start to think about how we can replace that with other sources.
Okay, appreciate that. I just wanted to make sure that the public's aware of what the action we're taking and how this breaks down, so I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Any council members have any questions? Okay. I can make a motion to approve ordinance on first reading, on ordinance 2782. City Clerk, could you read the title and take a roll call vote, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor.
Oh, wait, sorry, that's my motion. Need a second? Councilmember Guardiola.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
Okay, on the ordinance. Ordinance 2782, an ordinance amending the 2026 budget of the City of Commerce City, Colorado by appropriating unencumbered fund balance in general fund in the amount of $463,040 for use on an outdoor community ice rink and authorization of the expenditure thereof.
Thank you.
And the vote will be open in a second. Is now open.
Okay, that passes 8-1. Thank you. Okay, ordinance on first reading, ordinance 2767, ordinance amending the Commerce City Revised Municipal Code, Chapter 2, Article 3, establishing the Arts and Cultural Commission. Let's see who's on the docket for that. Is there a presentation on this, City Manager Rogers, or?
There is not a presentation, Mayor. I think staff is available to answer questions in reference to the source materials that came from a previous study session.
Okay.
And how this ordinance aligns to that discussion from that study session.
All right. Councilmember Guardiola?
Thank you, Mayor. And, I just wanted to kind of bring up what our Ms. Sanchez talked about today. I was on council when she was on, and she did get tons of money. And I think we're not doing it justice to give them credit. We had Daniela Del I think her last name was.
Villarreal.
Yeah, who she did. Like, she's like, I do work for you guys, I don't. And it was, and I appreciate what this administration with Lee is doing and dealing with the boards and commissions, because there was always a blurred, messy. But I just want to recognize what Ms. Sanchez has done. The 4 years that I was on there, she did, right? Parks came to us for culture, for music in the park, and just really want to see how do we honor those folks, because we're doing a disservice to those folks that work really hard to where the Culture Council is. And so I just wanted to bring that up. I'm for it. I'm on it again, me and Ms. Young, or Councilwoman Young. But again, we definitely need to give credit where credit's due. And that way it's in the records that they didn't mismanage. Was there some flaws? Of course there was. But I just kind of wanted to recognize Ms. Sanchez, because she did bring up great points, and she did a lot of work, guys, a lot of work. We got a lot of money through her grant writing, and that's her niche, right? And she always said that. So just wanted to make it public that, we appreciate Ms. Rhonda Sanchez and everyone during that time. And this was from 17 to 21. But if we could somehow, honor them in a sense, that way it doesn't look on the record that the reason we're getting rid of it. So that's all.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Noble?
Thank you very much, Councilmember Guardiola. That was exactly what I was going to say also, although I served on it in a different period than you did. But nevertheless, they kept doing the same thing after that. And there has been a very powerful chair running the Cultural Council for quite a while, very interested volunteers. And Mrs. Sanchez continued to do the same kind of fundraising that she had been doing during your time. And that's why it was so successful. That's why Music in the Park that we have had was due to many of the efforts of residents who serve on the Cultural Council. So I agree with you. I do think that we should do something to honor them. And if you want to make a motion, I'd be happy to second it.
I don't think there's a necessary motion. I think the staff gets the hint of, like, how do we honor those folks, and or what do you guys think? Because again, I think we do have a strong board now, and it's needed what we're doing, but I just want them, and even people before Rhonda.
Yeah, Dylan Gibson, Assistant City Manager. Absolutely, Councilmember Guardiola, and if, Rhonda Sanchez is still listening, the intent of that council communication wasn't to say anybody wasn't performing or doing anything that wasn't up to par. necessarily so much as it's when we've had conversations with SCFD related to our cultural council and other grant applications. When we apply as cultural council and then we try and apply as a city, they're not going to give multiple grant awards for the same event. So whenever we come in-house with the Arts and Culture Commission, they said that our application will actually be stronger and we'll probably be able to get additional funding for that. That's all I was trying to say, is that our applications going forward with them being an official commission will be a stronger application, according to SCFD, whenever we reach out to them for guidance during this process. Rana's done amazing work on every commission that she served on. And after the presentation that I had made to council earlier this year, Rana actually reached out and her and I had a one-on-one meeting over the Cultural Council and the Arts and Culture Commission, and her input was valuable in drafting this ordinance and making sure that her perspective was considered when we talked about the powers and responsibilities and everything else that went into drafting this. So,
Thank you.
absolutely, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, are you done? Councilmember Dukes, did you?
Yeah, just echo the comments. Find a way to recognize Ms. Sanchez. She's on the Parks Rec and Golf now, but when I first met her, we talked about not only the music in the park and the fundraising element, but all the behind the scenes and event planning that she's been able to make this such a success. With that, I do want to make a motion to approve ordinance 2767.
Councilmember Young?
I second, but I also had some
Yeah, you're fine.
comments.
You're fine.
Okay. Thank you again, Dylan, for all of your hard work, and Lee for really recognizing some of the disconnect administratively, so that we could right-size the Cultural Council and get it back in the city where it can be, where it can get the resources and the support that it deserves and that it needs. And also to Ms. Sanchez, who, and all the rest of the people who have spent years building the foundation and creating lasting opportunities for our community to come together. So this, I'm obviously in support of this, and it really was a confusing process, I'm sure. And for us to be able to approve and bring this back under the city and give it its support is important. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Dukes?
And Mayor, I have to correct the motion. So it's actually ordinance 2767, and the motion is to approve recommendation 1.
Okay.
Or action 1, I guess. Second it.
Action, and then number 1 is approve the ordinance as drafted. Okay. Councilmember Teeter? Oh, wait.
Yeah, just,
Yeah, wait, say a second, sorry.
pardon me?
Councilmember Young, do you agree with that as far as make sure the correct
Yes,
ordinance is numbered? Okay.
yes,
Thank you.
I second
Appreciate
the
that.
correction.
All right. Councilmember Teeter?
I'm just thinking while we're changing this ordinance around, this might be a prime time to also change the DEI commission and combine them with the Cultural Council, since they both basically do the same thing. Don't they?
No. two
I
separate
mean, one.
But I appreciate you
One
putting that
promotes
forward.
movies and the other one promotes music in the park. Shouldn't they be combined?
Councilmember Dukes?
Councilmember Teeter, thanks for bringing up that point. I think that might be a separate discussion, as this is to move towards with the Cultural Council moving away from a 501c3. And then the separate discussion is around the DEI Commission and other commissions that are somewhat aligned or not. So I'm want to keep this motion and be able to move forward with the discussion.
Okay, let's take one at a time.
Councilmember Dukes, did you have anything else? All right. Thank you, Dylan, Assistant City Manager, for bringing this forward and actually giving clarity. Rhonda Sanchez, she's done an amazing job, and she takes, when it comes to looking at the community as a whole, the whole city, she looks at how can we help the whole city with these projects, and making sure we have music, music and park, things like that, cultural events that stems around the Cultural Council, that it includes every sector of our city. So I appreciate her efforts. She, on the phone there earlier, providing public comment, and I could see where she was taken back, and I'm glad you had the conversation with her to exactly see how things can be drafted to actually bring this forward and make it what it is, change it from, 501c?
Correct, yes, sir.
To Cultural Commission, and then giving it more, I would say, autonomy.
Correct.
So,
Thank you,
very
Mayor.
much. All right, ready for the vote? Oh, I'm sorry, is there any other council members? Councilmember Trio, would you want to say something? Okay. All right, sorry.
No
Just-
worries, Mayor.
Just jumping.
All right, ordinance 2767, an ordinance amending the Commerce City Revised Municipal Code, Chapter 2, Article 3, establishing the Arts and Culture Commission. And the vote is now open.
Okay, that passed unanimously with one excused absence. All right, on to administrative business. Any council members have any administrative items? Mayor Pro Tem Noble.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I have a couple of things. First of all, I have seen the speed truck on Chambers Road, and I was wondering about the speed truck on Colorado Boulevard. So when there isn't an officer available to give tickets, the speed truck could be there catching people speeding. Do you think that would be something that the city would consider?
I think I'm more than willing to have a conversation with the chief. I can't speak to his process on deployment. I know that he has had some internal discussions on how to think about deployment. I know he is listening online, so I would say that you have kind of shared an idea. I don't have any issues in having a conversation with my staff on how they think about best deployment and whether or not Colorado Boulevard is a potential roadway for use of it. So I don't mind taking that back to him.
Okay, sure, that's great. And I am recalling social media that the city did where neighborhoods could request the speed truck.
That is correct, ma'am.
So maybe it would be helpful to recommend to them that they request the speed truck, perhaps.
Absolutely. Right now it's very rudimentary process, I would say, with our PD where, I have made suggestions to when residents have come to me about how to seek use of the truck is to reach out directly to the chief, who will then work with the corresponding commander and sergeant on how best to do so. There is criteria under our Avis contract, just so that there is, anchoring some expectations, because we are required to ensure that criteria is met when we are deploying the truck. So I would say, for whoever is listening, if there is a desire, I think until we have a much more established process, as once again, this is relatively new for us with the truck versus the light, to reach directly out to our chief or to the chief of police email that is monitored by his staff, so that the appropriate staff within his department can review and can activate accordingly based on our contract with Avis.
Okay, thank you very much.
My
All right,
pleasure.
and my second item is that in the interest of council collegiality, I would like to make a motion to appoint Councilmember Teeter to the open position for Friends of the Front Range refuges, wildlife refuges. And I would first like to thank Councilmember Young, Councilmember Kim, and the mayor for voting for me. I appreciate that very much, but I will stand down. So I am nominating Councilmember Teeter for the role.
Okay, need a second? Councilmember Trujillo? Councilmember Dukes?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All right.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. On the motion, the vote is now open. Councilmember Trio. Nothing. No worries. Thank you.
Yeah, it passes 8-1. All right. Congratulations, Mr. Teeter. Councilmember Trujillo.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, I've been thinking a lot about our agenda and the council report outs being at the end. And what I'm noticing is that there really seems to be a gap of knowledge sharing, maybe perhaps with the community. And so thinking about that and just, you know, hearing some of the public comments around some of the very same things, I feel like it would be really nice for the community to hear shortly after public comment, council report outs and report outs from city management, just to kind of tie in that communication. So with that said, I'd like to make a motion for City Manager Rogers to explore the idea of moving up our report outs towards after public comment.
It's really it's really administrative business. That's used to be right after comments, so we can take action, not reports. Are you looking at taking action or just reporting?
Our reporting.
Okay. City Manager Rogers?
Thank you for that, Mayor. I will say I've had a conversation with Councilmember Trujillo on this matter, and I think there is obviously the discussion at your level, and I think my point would be the clarifying aspect of where and how you would like us to bring that recommendation back to either this body or policy and governance. But I do think for your awareness, right, I am able to set the agenda, right, put the materials, lay out what comes on a coordinated fashion. But as we're talking about a templated approach to your agendas, as you have seen now, that actually comes out of your city council policy. So more than willing to be able to advance this, understanding the desire is to be able to help fill that knowledge gap potentially of our residents who are speaking that evening and providing responses while they are still a captivated audience, either online or in this hall. So.
Okay. Looking for a second. Councilmember Young?
I second.
All right. Councilmember Trujillo, go ahead and restate your motion, please.
I think, did you have a discussion?
Yeah, no, I just said, okay, discussion. Councilmember Dukes, you want to discuss it?
I do, and I'd like to just make a friendly amendment based on what City Manager Rogers said, is that he moves forward with this discussion in our policy committee to change city council policy for the agenda, a process, right? Is that right? So.
Right, you have your policy and governance that takes on these matters that maybe comes from research or due diligence that's effectively coming from your policy setting template on the agenda.
Yeah.
So that may be the best way to approach this, is for me to explore with my team, to come to policy and governance, to share that exploration that then
Update the
gets
policy,
advanced.
because it'll update our city council policy. That'll be the request for the amendment, but then also, while I have time, I think it's a good idea. We often hear about some of our monthly meetups and the conversation. I think about Councilmember Goriola, for example, where he's out in the community and he's doing these meetups and he's talking with residents and he's also talking with Parks and Rec. And when you do your share out, sometimes they don't hear that activity. And I think this is a great opportunity to at least share earlier in the agenda. The thing that I would look forward to in exploring this is just to ensure that it doesn't hinder city business. I know in our council policies, we are really tightly strict. We talk about giving report outs that are specifically of city manner and city requirements. And so I want to make sure that this, as you're exploring it, stays true to that intent, that it doesn't become an opportunity to grandstand. It's more around, here is the report out for the city matters that connects to the city, and it's an opportunity for us to just move it up, and it doesn't hinder city business. But that's my comment, but the friendly amendment is to add that this expiration moves towards our governance and policy for recommendation from governance policy.
Councilmember Trujillo, you're okay with that?
Yes, thank you. I'm happy to make that amendment to the motion. And I think you bring up a very good point, Councilmember Dukes. I think this is a really good opportunity for us to remember what we are supposed to be reporting out on. And if we all stick to that, that's going to make our meetings more efficient. And so thank you for that reminder. I am happy to make that friendly amendment to this motion.
Okay. And Councilmember Young, you're okay with that amendment? Friendly amendment?
Yes, I second that amendment.
All right. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Noble.
Thank you so much. Before we vote on this, could you please clarify, Councilmember Trujillo, what it is that you're looking for after public comment that would elevate, illuminate, move the meeting forward, whatever the case might be, by having council reports immediately follow public comment?
Councilmember Trujillo.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to answer your question, Mayor Pro Tem. It's exactly what I said earlier. I think that I've noticed a gap in information sharing to the community. And so while we have them here and they are engaged, as you can see, we have an empty room now. So folks don't hear about these updates, for example, in Adams Heights, when they are coming to public comment, speaking about issues relating to Adams Heights. So, and that's just one example. It's really just more to fill in that gap, and folks don't have to wait, 2 or 3 hours to hear from us on an update that may actually very well could give them more information around what the city is doing, what we are doing in the community, to address their issues. So it's really that, and it's more in alignment too with what we talked about and being transparent. And I just want to make sure that we have the ability to really reach our community members.
Then I think we're sort of talking, in my mind, I'm hearing two different things. One of them is that the gap is how would the Adams Heights residents know about the watershed plan? Technically, they wouldn't know about it from us because it's operations. It would come from the city manager. So it would be responding, if you will, to public comment. And we used to do it that way. And it does, when you consider there's 9 of us, and how many speakers in public comment, and each person gets 5 minutes, is that it gets quite challenging, which is why we went back to saving it until administrative council business. This isn't to say that there aren't times when I want to say, oh, I want to be able to tell you that this is going to happen. I think it's important for people to be able to hear that. But finding that balance is what the challenge is, and that's what we charge the city manager with doing, is arranging an agenda. So I guess the answer would be that I would like to hear what he's thinking about on this when you have time to think about it, as opposed to right here on the spot, and that maybe it doesn't include council reports. Those remain at the end, because we don't really have things that would be illuminating what people say necessarily. So I don't know. Those are my random thoughts on the spur of the moment, just hearing this motion now.
City Manager Rogers?
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the offer for me to share my thoughts on this, Mayor Pro Tem. Like I said, I've had a chance to have the conversation with Councilmember Tria, and she had asked, from my professional experiences, what have I seen that has been successful in my former lives? And I will tell you, I've seen it done in both ways. I've seen it directly after public comment. I've also seen it here at the end. I've actually seen it more common after public comment than I have actually seen it at the end. And I think part of it has also been just the practical application by the body of council and how they are holding themselves to the topic around city business and ensuring that the city manager is then given an opportunity, town manager or county administrator is given an opportunity to, as what they may be hearing, respond in the moment to that. I think it does come down to how do you balance your philosophical approach when talking around that, so that you're able to get through that in a very effective and an efficient manner, so that you're then able to get back to the business at hand on that regular meeting. So I think it comes down to preference. I think it comes down to self-management. That's also myself included. I would assume that as you're pulling up your council reports, I'm pulling up my city manager report, so that the, once again, captivated audience within this hall and online is still connected in that. And why I say that is that as I've done some of my own data mining, we're only really getting a connected individual online or in person for 19 minutes. That 19 minutes is encapsulated within that first 19 minutes of our meeting, which is typically our public comment. So there's probably an opportunity there that we're able to capitalize just based on what data is telling us now of who's coming to our meeting, staying in our meeting, and how long they're staying in our meeting, that we may be able to retain that attention just a little bit more so for them around the things that matter the most and how we're reporting out on the things that matter the most to them. But once again, while I can shift the agenda around from time to time, I can't do that consistently without running afoul of council policy. So, I've shifted things on an agenda because we've had public interest, per se, on a public hearing. So I've elevated it so that our community's not waiting till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night to participate, to share their public comments. So if we want something that's, once again, more expected and consistent, I would say you'd want to go the route of this exploration to look at the pros, the cons, the balance, the overall efficacy of your meeting and how to really dial that in.
Okay, and this does fall under notice council business, so I think since you've already had a discussion, that would have been good to actually formalize it on a future agenda.
Respectfully, I wanted to have a conversation with the rest of council before bringing it as an NCB. So I wanted to get consensus first before I just blindsided everybody.
Any other discussion?
Yes.
Okay. Just
Thank you.
Councilmember Young?
So what I'm hearing in this kind of request is what I hear from Councilmember Gordiola all the time, which is how do we announce our good news, right? How do we talk to the community and share with the community about the ways that we are engaged with our city and with our residents and the good things that are going on, and having it right after public comment gives us an opportunity to talk about those good things so that it just, all we're doing is creating a bridge between the people who are here for public comment and the work that we do, because we probably do look like a bunch of stoic-faced people who don't care. And having an opportunity to tell the public right after public comment what we are engaged in, what commissions we do belong to, what are some of the updates, what is some of the work that we're working on individually as council members. I think this is a really valuable opportunity for us to Councilmember Duke's point, not grandstand or not, respond to public comment, but just be genuine in our care and service to our city, just like we do in our council reports at the end of the night. This way, we have an opportunity to communicate authentically and genuinely with our public.
Okay, anybody else make comment? Councilmember Dukes.
Yeah, I just want to, again, I appreciate Councilmember Trujillo bringing this up on the tail end of what we heard tonight on public comment. And what we know with notice council business is that we can bring forward a notice council business based on some comments. And this is perfectly aligned with what we do know in terms of council reports, some things were said tonight, and knowing that we all do meetups. And so it'd be great to be like, hey, here's the date for a meetup if there's a comment, or we do our meetups and we can do report outs anyway. So it'd be great for them to understand that if they need follow-up. I am in support of this, again, with the caveat, it isn't grandstanding, it's more here, and it's not a response. I do agree with Mayor Pro Tem. Around in the past, we did have interactions with public comment, and that really extended our meetings. This isn't that. Just to reframe it or bring it back to the purpose, this is the motion to have the city manager explore it. A lot of these discussions will take place in a policy committee, which I think it's Councilmember Young, Trujillo, and Mayor Pro Tem. So we look forward to hearing your recommendations as you bring back some of these buckets that we talked about. With that, I'd like to call the vote.
Well, we're having discussion, and
I have the floor, sir.
I give you opportunity to speak, so I want you to let other people speak.
I have the floor, Mayor, and a part of Bob's rules is that I have the floor, I can call for the vote.
City Attorney Zarzaki, do we need 2/3 vote to?
So there's some technicalities between asking for calling for the vote and a motion to close the debate. Any council member can ask for the call for the vote. If there's no contention, then the presiding officer has the authority to call for the vote. Alternatively, if there's a motion to close the debate, then I believe it's a 2/3 vote requirement.
Okay. All right, because I haven't spoke about this, and just to cut other people off, that wouldn't be right. I appreciate that. So, this is how it used to be. Our agenda was public comments, and then you would be able to speak to the folks who made a comment and address their issue. And in a lot of these, when it comes to public comment, deals with operations. It would give the city attorney an opportunity to actually answer those questions. And I think as far as, grandstanding and all that, we would have to be careful about doing that, as it was stated, and just stick to what the comments are. Because I think it's really important people understand, hey, I got this issue with flooding, how are you gonna handle this? And not here at 9:30 at night, what the response is gonna be from city manager, because he may not have the answer. But at least they could go home knowing that their concerns were addressed, and give council an opportunity to weigh in as well to our constituents. Mayor Pro Tem?
My other concern would be that I just hope it isn't used as a rebuttal, that people who come up here and make public comment, that we use the opportunity to contradict them or use language that perhaps dismisses them or diminishes them, such as false narratives, that kind of thing. I just want to be certain that if you're going to be doing this, that it's respectful of the people who come to the podium.
Councilmember Trujillo?
Sometimes I'm speechless. I'd like to go ahead and do a motion to close debate, please, or discussion.
Thank you. Councilmember Guardiola?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any discussion?
That is not a debatable motion, actually.
Pardon me?
The motion to close debate is not a debatable motion, so you just call the vote.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's a technicality.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead and call for the vote.
Vote is open.
Thank you. Okay, that passes 8-1. All right, any other council administrative business? Okay,
Oh,
not to
we
read.
need a vote on the main motion now?
Yeah, sorry. All right, we're ready for the main motion.
On the
Sorry
main
about that.
motion, the vote is now open.
Okay, that passes unanimous, 8 with 1 excused absence. All right, on to reports. City Manager Rogers.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have much for you this evening except for one item. We were contacted late Friday evening by the constituent services for the Adams County Board of Supervisors. They are asking, or they are hoping to coordinate a dinner with Commerce City City Council with the goal of having that be held sometime in August. What they would love to be able to do and eager is to strengthening working relationships with you all and obviously your team, which would be obviously the administration, to enhance collaboration and mutual support. They are taking the lead on finding the restaurant in Commerce City, but they are looking at the dates of August 6th, 7th, and the 10th. I will share this in an email for you, and obviously I would ask that you coordinate through Annette in my office so that we can provide that response. Once again, I think this kind of goes back to the regional summit and the emphasis on regional partnership. That starts at the top. That starts on wanting to build that fabric of relationship with you all that obviously we'll be able to carry forward both on joint policy guidance and direction of how we can be able to tackle some of the intractable issues that we know in our community. So wanted to share that with you all. Please expect an email that will come from me. But honestly, a lot of things that I would have talked about, we have discussed this evening in a number of different formats. So that is it for my report out.
Thank you. Any questions for City Manager Rogers? City Manager Rogers, I had a question. You know, when Public Works has been out in the streets doing their due diligence with crack seal and all those things, I've seen a lot of weeds along the road and the cracks of the road. Is there any way to either treat those or because I see end up being the homeowner going down the street and then taking a weed eater and putting them down. And also, I have not seen the schedule for street sweeping. And usually street sweeping is usually done on a quarterly basis in the past. And I have not yet seen a street sweeper this year go down majority of the roads.
I believe we have our street sweeper schedule on our website. I don't
Okay.
know if we are actively sending it out, but it is posted on a dedicated website on our website that goes through the various districts. It also goes through the routes that we have for each one of those districts. So it is available online to our community as of when we did go live with our new website. So hopefully that is helpful. If necessary, Mayor, I can send you the hyperlink so that you can pass that along to others. As it pertains to the weeds in the street, are you particularly saying within the right-of-way that they're just popping up through the crack?
Yes, just
Okay.
along certain corridors. And I can send pictures, whatever, because it's not the whole city, it's just certain.
Just certain areas. I think I think what we can do as we're driving around, if we recognize that, I think that is something that we can take some action on addressing. I can't speak to the particulars of how Public Works addresses de-weeding within exposed cracks, or if that is done just through our vendor when we are actually doing the application of hot mix in those areas. So I don't mind raising that question with my team, sir.
Thank you. And one more thing about the traffic signals at Heartland and 116th.
Traffic signals at Heartland and 116th, obviously, we've gotten through the design aspect. I can't speak where it stands off the top of my head, but I can send also an email update to City Council on construction of that, or timing of construction.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mayor Pro Tem Domo?
Thank you. And City Manager Rogers, I want to thank you for water-wise landscaping. This is really great. This will be so helpful to people. And also your memo on xeriscaping on tree lawns and the guidelines for that. And it's particularly important in Ward 4, which is all HOAs, basically, is that they really need to go to their HOA first, but the city will allow it if the HOA allows it. And I love the design examples. They're really accurate in terms of our ordinance that we passed a couple of years ago. So thank you very much, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Councilmember Dukes?
Thank you, Mayor. City Manager Rogers, thank you for, we chatted earlier and did our one-on-one and check-in, and as we know, there's some trash and debris around the city and some encampments that are taking place, and I appreciate your attention and working with your team to do another sweep and kind of see what's happening and how we can help support with the community well-being team. So I appreciate that, and I just want to put that on record, say thank you.
Thank you. I do actually have something. I do try to meet with my counterparts from sister agencies such as CDOT, RTD. I know there's a handful of different topics around urban encampments, illegal dumpings that are within rights-of-ways that we are not controlled by the city. So reaching out, hoping to have relevant conversations with them here in the next couple of days, hopefully at the latest, next couple of weeks, to be able to make some progress on addressing some of those issues that are, once again, I just can't get access to because I just don't have the authority to be able to step on the said property. So I will keep you all apprised, but I think that goes to your point, that, as much as we're doing what we can within our rights, how can we strengthen and diversify that with our partners who are also within the city?
Thank you. City Manager Rogers, on the devolution of, is it Colorado? Is it between 68th and 60th from the state?
So Colorado's already, so the development of Colorado is already in place. So that is a city right away, and it's under our control. I think what
Brighton Boulevard.
So what?
Is it
It's
Brighton?
Brighton Boulevard. I would not anticipate development of Brighton Boulevard until, and I can raise this when I have a conversation with my counterpart for Region 1 at CDOT. It's my understanding, and I can confirm that and then bring that back next Monday, that development would not be considered any time before 2029 for Brighton Road. That being said, we do have an IGA in place in which we are going through our initial assessment to begin the maintenance operation, work for filling potholes and other crack seals, the like, on Brighton Road under that IGA. And then starting next year, they have not confirmed a timeline on when it will begin or end, but there is a mill and overlay that is planned by the state for Brighton Road from 68 down to 56.
Okay. All right, thank you. Councilmember Dukes?
Just one more thing. I was going to have this in my council report, but it's more appropriate with City Manager Rogers. Congratulations for your team on completing the National League of Cities Community Health and Wellbeing Accelerator. As I looked at the report, and we got that from the National League of Cities, and we talked about some of the challenges and key findings about wage disparity, and some parts of our city have challenges to access to basic needs, have challenges to access to services, and then also have barriers to access to healthy foods. And so I appreciate your team beginning to do a deep dive and needs assessment. And when we have our community health and wellbeing report out, I look forward to being a part of that study session and hearing how we can support holistically. So congrats to the team. Thank you, National League of Cities, and thank you, city managers, for your leadership on that.
Thank you for that. And I was just going to leave it to the agenda to be published on Wednesday, but you all will be having that conversation next Monday.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I appreciate I had asked City Attorney Zarzaki some questions on the filing 39 and 40. I'm sorry, City Manager Rogers, thank you for your report. City Attorney Zarzaki, you have a report?
Yes, I'll be very brief, Mayor. I just wanted to say, in a continued effort, we talk a lot within the City Attorney's Office about leveling up and increasing our expectations of ourselves, as well as helping out departments, boards and commissions, and council. So I just wanted to flag, we are continuing those efforts. I have a Senior Assistant City Attorney, Quali Farbs, here, who will be part of the executive session this evening. She recently gave a Board of Adjustment training, I believe it was last week. We have a Workforce Advisory Committee inaugural meeting now scheduled for next week that I will be participating in to provide training. And then I have a meeting tomorrow with a council member to discuss how to level up expectations within the Youth Commission. So we are continuing those efforts. My ask of you is, if you are seeing recurring issues within any of the boards or commissions that you are the council liaison for, please just let me know. We are here, we are a resource, and our job is to help. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say to City Attorney Zarzaki, I received your letter and explanation on filing 40 and 39, case S796-25. And I think there was a new submittal because the old map had 39 going all the way up to the corner of 112th and Chambers. So I think there was some confusion on some of the reflection of folks who put an application in.
So I'm happy to have that conversation with you if you would like to have that as a sidebar. Just to clarify that City Attorney's Office doesn't have a legal review of the determination of whether or not an individual applicant that's requesting a hearing lives within a certain footage. That is an action that is typically done by community development. So my communication this afternoon was simply a copy and paste from the community development director on what their process was and their determination. Nevertheless, happy to have that conversation with you to make sure that we all have the facts and we're applying the correct facts.
Appreciate that.
Of course.
Any questions for City Attorney Zarzaki? All right, move on to council report. Councilmember Young.
Last week, the staff had put together a tour for Councilmember Trujillo and I to go visit the Aurora Regional Navigational Center. Anyway, this was a really, and especially coming from a social work background, a really fascinating concept that Aurora, the city of Aurora, had put together. Purchased a ginormous property, a hotel, convention center, and essentially turned it into a facility where they're able to have several different levels of services to the unhoused population. And they have done a really good job creating really safe spaces, a really safe culture, a safe environment for the people needing services, and an opportunity for people to kind of get a peek around the corner and say like, what's the next level? What are the next steps? And offering opportunities for people to get involved in job training and get some case assistance, maybe some mental health or substance abuse help, and different levels of housing, just in terms of, being able to move into like a small apartment and then working towards the opportunity to find their own housing. What I really appreciated about this facility is their kind of willingness to answer hard questions about safety, about finances, where they get their funding from, that kind of thing. I think my number one takeaway from this tour was the partnership that Aurora is excited about welcoming people from different communities, from Denver, from Commerce City. They really want to be a resource for the region and not just for Aurora. So I appreciate you setting it up, and I was kind of geeking out because it was really cool. It reminded me of another facility that I saw in South Africa, actually, that had a similar kind of moving up concept and job training concept, that kind of thing. So that's it for my report out.
Thank you. Councilmember Guardiola.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to announce that it's our last Music in the Park this Thursday at Pioneer Park. Starts at 6:30, and hopefully we can see this year. I think from my time, I mean, it's been packed every Music in the Park. So hopefully residents come out. It's our final one, Pioneer Park, this Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Noble.
Thank you very much. I want to mention that the sign is up at the, about to open, at least in the fall, Anythink Library at 103rd Place, across from Taco Bell, by the way. Very exciting, and folks are really, really looking forward to it, so that's great. I signed a couple of checks for CFFF this week that goes to the schools, so that was really, I always enjoy doing that. And I also reached out to Greg Thompson, Councilmember Dukes had asked about the information that I provided from the CFFF meeting about the fact that Commerce City had a lower number, our developers were a lower percentage of contributions to CFFF Foundation, which is a school foundation for 27J, than developers in other neighborhoods. And Mr. Thompson replied to me and said that in looking back over his data, he realized that he had provided us slightly misleading information, because Oakwood Homes gives money to their own foundation for schools. So it's not that they don't give money, they just don't give it to 27J specifically. So I just wanted to clarify that. Let's see, I went on a tour with the board of the Front Range, the Front Range Group for Wildlife Refuges at the National Repository, Wildlife Repository on Friday. It was the first time I had seen it. I had no idea it was there. I've been totally in the dark about that. So anybody who wants to go, they do it on a Friday. And I would recommend signing up for that tour. And finally, I spoke on my own behalf at the State's Air Quality Control Commission regarding greenhouse gases. And this was on the same issue that I'd spoken about before, where Suncor Refinery is trading off its pollution in order to avoid fines. There were a lot of people who spoke, and ultimately the Air Quality Control Commission agreed with manufacturers in the refinery. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Dukes.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick update. Last week, I attended the DRCOG regional meeting, and just for the folks online and folks here in person, DRCOG stands for Denver Regional Council of Governments. I'm fortunate to be appointed to the Special Finance and Budget Committee. So why does this matter to Commerce City? Because this is a regional approach with DRCOG, and it gives us an opportunity to talk about the regional housing strategy, which was a part of the update, our transportation challenges, and we are, with DRCOG and RTD, was submitted a micro-transit study opportunity. So when we think about micro-transit across the city, this is through DRCOG. And then the Regional Air Quality Council, they talked about regional air quality. The importance of DRCOG for us is that it takes sometimes more cities to make a bigger impact, to have some of the challenges that we're addressing. As a city our size and growing, we need to have these type of partnerships. So I'm thankful to be appointed to be a part of this, and I look forward to having more of an impact on their budget and special finance committee.
Thank you. Councilmember Trujillo.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the Housing Authority monthly meeting on the 8th. Just want to convey, again, the gratitude that they have for the city, and particularly also the city clerk's office for helping them transition and navigate, getting new members appointed, what that process will look like. Also, as Councilwoman Young mentioned, toured the Aurora Regional Navigational Center as well, and it's always humbling. I can just say that. But at the same time, as we see, an increase in folks experiencing homelessness, I don't want to say I'm happy. I'm not happy about the entire situation, but just grateful that that type of a facility exists in our region, and really did ask some hard questions, and they were very responsive to all of us who were on the tour. So, yeah, that's what I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Kim.
Thank you. Just a few things to report out. So had a productive meeting with Jody Nowicki, who's the Senior Director of Network Engagements at the Rocky Mountain Partnership. We discussed our ongoing collaboration with RMP and CCA, Community College of Aurora, which, if you don't know, opens up tuition-free career pathways for Commerce City residents in high-demand fields such as healthcare, IT, construction, manufacturing. I'm also proud to share, as far as what she shared with me, is that since the inception of the program, there's been over 100 local young adults that have already successfully completed this program. Furthermore, as some of you may know, the collective efforts was also recognized for the 2026 Economic Development Award for Leadership at the city's Business Appreciation Award. And for any residents that are listening who want to take advantage of the career pathway, all you have to do is simply apply at CCA, select an eligible program, and verify that you're a Commerce City resident. Secondly, recently attended a Foxton Village HOA meeting. It was a great opportunity to hear directly from the HOA board, plus any of the residents that were online, as far as what's going on with them. And I also had the opportunity to provide some resources out there to the board members and residents that are listening that apparently did not know we had those resources available for them. And then finally, I had my monthly community meetup. While we did have a great productive conversation, the one question I did ask them was that, if you were mayor, what would you do to make life in Commerce City better? Two things actually rose up to the top. And honestly, the feedback was insightful. Number one was expanding programs and activities for our teens and ensuring consistent, equal law enforcement across our entire community. I look forward to keeping those things in mind as I continue to work on council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Kim. All right, last week I served on a zoning board of adjustment. We had a workshop before our meeting. We had 2 public hearings that night. And great conversation on what our policies are, how it's interpreted by our citizens, and then going forward, making sure when a notice is posted, that there is a clear understanding, the time the notice is up. And because this, one of the hearings had to come back because the hearing was not, the notice was not done right. Let's see. On July 27th, next Monday, between 9 and 10 a.m., they're ahead of schedule. There's going to be a ribbon cutting at E470 and Sable Boulevard for the opening up that exchange on E470 and Sable Boulevard interchange. I will send that information to City Manager Rogers, and he can send it out to the council if you would like to attend that meeting. I will have my one-on-one tomorrow with City Attorney Zarzeki. There's also Epic this week as well, on Thursday. And myself and Mayor Pro Tem are the liaisons on that board. Let's see. Environmental Policy and Innovation Commission. All right. I need a motion and a second to enter into executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, parentheses 4E, for the purpose of determining positions related to matters that may be subject to negotiations, to develop strategies for negotiations or instruct negotiators regarding Victory Crossing in CRS 24-6-402, parentheses 4 and B, for the purpose of receiving legal advice regarding same. Councilmember Young.
So moved.
Councilmember Teeter.
Second the motion.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to enter an executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402E, 4E, for the purpose of determining a position related to the matter that may be subject to negotiation, to develop strategy for negotiation or instruct negotiators regarding Victory Crossing in CRS 24-6402, parentheses 4 and B, for the purpose of receiving legal advice regarding the same. We'll ask the clerk to take a roll call vote.
Thank you, Mayor. The vote is now open. And Mayor Pro Tem Noble.
Mayor Pro Tem Noble. Vote.
Thank you.
Okay, it's unanimous, pass 8 with 1 excused absence. We will now enter an executive session. Council will not be returning to take action following executive session. This meeting will be immediately adjourned following the executive session. The meeting broadcast recording will be ending.